echoed throughout the main hall. Ye Tianxin, who was listless and weak, widened her eyes as soon as she heard this, looking at her master and Fan Xuan, who were facing each other, in disbelief. Is there really another secret to the matter of Yulong village? For some reason, Ye Tianxin's heart was pounding, and the atmosphere in the main hall became dry. Fan Xuan didn't answer Lu Zhao's question directly, but instead said, "How can the Great Yan world allow foreign races to reside here? There are too many foreign races in Duqian River." After saying this, he glanced at Ye Tianxin imperceptibly. These words were also indirectly an admission. He was a smart guy, understood clearly that in this situation there was no point in arguing about the truth, falsehood, right or wrong, or denying the truth. Without sufficient evidence, the Matian Pavilion wouldn't have summoned him here. His answer caused everyone to exchange glances. "The case files in the palace were tampered with by you." "It was me," Fan Xuan didn't deny but continued. "The number of people who can access the case files in the palace is not many." "Does Senior have eyes and ears in the palace?" Lu Zhao suddenly turned around, ignoring his question. "So you're the one who framed me." Ji Tiandao did many evil things in his life, and the bad reputation caused by the 9 disciples was also attributed to him. Gradually his reputation became worse and worse. Some scheming people took the opportunity to frame Ji Tiandao. One more evil thing is not considered many, one less evil thing is not considered few, though he was too lazy to explain. But Lu Zhao is not like that. Fan Xuan, hearing this, said loudly, "The Blackguard only acts according to orders and is not the mastermind. Moreover, as far as I know, the 6th disciple of the Matian Pavilion is a traitor. Why should Senior go against the people in the palace for a traitor?" No sooner had he said that, than Ye Tianxin struggled to stand up. Her cultivation was gone, so she grabbed a sword from a moon-summoning sect female cultivator with the body of an ordinary person. Whoosh! A cold light flashed across the blade, and Ye Tianxin raised the sword to stab Fan Xuan. Bang! Fan Xuan didn't even flinch. He stood there with his hands clasped behind his back, steady as a rock. The sword cracked with a snap and shattered, falling to the ground. Everyone was shocked. Ye Tianxin's eyes were bloodshot as she said, unwilling, "Who's the mastermind? Who the hell is it?" A faint wave of protective energy emanated from Fan Xuan's entire body. It pushed Ye Tianxin back into her seat. "Senior Ji, the Black Knights don't want to be enemies with the Evil Sky Pavilion. I've answered everything you've asked. As for the mastermind, forgive me, but I can't say. I've delivered the message from the palace. Senior, make your own choice." With that, he turned and walked out of the Evil Sky Pavilion. The other 4 Black Knights stood up, cupped their fists, and followed him. After taking 2 steps, Fan Xuan stopped and said, "However, as a junior, let me give you 2 pieces of advice, Senior. 1, it's best not to go against the people in the palace. 5 years will pass in the blink of an eye. 2, although the Black Knights aren't as strong as the Evil Sky Pavilion, we're not pushovers either. Farewell." Ever since they arrived at the mountain, the Black Knights had been suppressed by the Evil Sky Pavilion. They'd never been treated like this. Dignity, face, attitude, they could all be discarded. Fan Xuan had lowered himself as much as possible. But these last few sentences made his 4 subordinates feel refreshed. The anger that had been building in their chests seemed to dissipate completely. He spoke right. "The Evil Sky Pavilion may be strong, but the Black Knights are not soft persimmons." But just as the 5 of them were about to leave the main hall, Lu Ju stroked his beard and said, "Did this old master give you permission to leave?" Fan Xuan stopped. His heart skipped a beat. "This old master summoned you here with no intention of letting you leave." Lu Zhao waved his hand. Duan Musheng and Ming Xinyin had long been itching to teach these guys a lesson. They originally thought their master would avoid trouble, since the Black Knights came from the palace, unlike that ignorant Zuo Xinchan, but unexpectedly their master was still as tough as ever. Whoosh, whoosh, Ming Xinyin and Duan Musheng leaped out of the main hall. Fan Xuan slowly turned around. "Are you really going to do this for one traitor?" Lu Zhao said indifferently. "This old master will punish my own traitors. It's not your turn to interfere. Then, as for the mastermind behind you, this old master will let you understand." Fan Xuan understands. He resolutely turned back to the main hall, returning to his original position. "The Dark Knights are at your command. Since the Evil Sky Pavilion wants to see the Black Knight's skills, then let's grant them their wish." Whoosh, 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 whoosh. 4 whooshing sounds rang out, and 4 golden lotus avatars appeared, 2 with 3 leaves and 2 with 2 leaves. These avatars stood towering 3 or 4 zang high, exuding a powerful aura. Everyone was shocked as they looked at the 4 avatars. Lu Zhao wasn't surprised at all. As the leader of the Black Knights, the former head of the Black ranking, how could he not have some skills? He had the courage to stand here, so naturally he had enough confidence and courage. All 4 of the Black Knights were experts in the nascent divinity realm. Fan Xuan cupped his fist and said, "This junior will say it again. We don't want to be enemies with the Evil Sky Pavilion." These words were incredibly grating. It was clearly a veiled threat. He kept saying he didn't want to be enemies with the Evil Sky Pavilion, but he kept targeting them everywhere, even making Evil Sky Pavilion traitors like Ye Tianxin angry. Lu Zhao was thinking about how to respond. 4 nascent divinity experts, Zhao Yanjie couldn't handle them. Duan Musheng and Ming Xiyin could each handle 1, leaving 2, plus the leader of the Black Knights, whose cultivation was unfathomable. He could certainly choose to use a deadly strike card to take Fan Xuan's life. But the problem was, the mastermind behind the massacre of Yulong village hadn't been asked about yet. Even if he killed him, the remaining number of item cards couldn't handle all 4 Black Knights. Just as he was pondering, "You killed our Black Knights. I want to experience a few of your moves." One of the 4 Black Knights suddenly attacked Ming Xiyin. Ming Xinyin had only just entered the nascent divinity realm, so he was immediately caught off guard and retreated repeatedly, his toes pressed against the ground, flattening his body as he flew into the air. "Don't come and help!" The Black Knight disdained, ganging up on the weak. He was extremely confident, vowing to defeat Ming Xinyin alone. This was the result the 4 Black Knights had been hoping for. The two fought fiercely outside the main hall, getting further and further away. This was also good. Although Ming Xinyin's avatar hadn't yet bloomed, he had suppressed his nascent divinity realm for too long, so after his cultivation was promoted, his ability would explode. Just like Duan Musheng, real combat could make them grow quickly. With Ming Xinyin's cunning nature, even if he couldn't win, he could still run. There was no need to worry about him being in mortal danger. Duan Musheng was different, he said in a deep voice. "One isn't enough? 2 of you come at me." The Overlord's spear in his hand danced, the sound of iron chains clanging. Fan Xuan tilted his head slightly, his eyes looking at Duan Musheng, a heaven-grade weapon. The heaven-grade Overlord spear in Duan Musheng's hand was extremely majestic, with a coiling dragon carved from the head to the tail of the spear, extremely shocking. The powerful vital force penetrated through the Overlord's spear, transforming into a terrifying protective energy that spread out, not giving the opponent a chance to choose. Duan Musheng attacked one of them. The Black Knight controlled his avatar and fought fiercely with him, but having a heaven-grade weapon, and not having one, was a completely different level. There was no comparison. This was basic common sense in the cultivation world. Heaven-grade weapons could create strong gales, almost magnifying Duan Musheng's power and attack range several times. If a heaven-grade weapon was in the hands of someone who understood weapons, they could even use it to break the opponent's avatar. Once the avatar was lost, the cultivation gap between the nascent divinity realm experts would be eliminated. Boom boom! The Overlord spear was swift and fierce, like a dragon, completely suppressing the opponent. Duan Musheng fought more and more vigorously, and in just a moment, the two had fought outside the main hall. Me too. Another Black Knight saw that things weren't going well and immediately joined Duan Musheng's fight. Taking on one enemy with 2, Duan Musheng relied on his heaven-grade weapon to fight 2 enemies, one 2-leafed avatar and one 3-leafed avatar. Originally, he had been attacking fiercely and suppressing his opponent, but now that another enemy had appeared, the pressure suddenly increased. The 2 black guards joined forces, unleashing a wave of robust gang chi. Duan Musheng raised his Overlord spear to block, chains swirling around it. Boom! Duan Musheng rapidly retreated, his feet sliding across the ground. He was enveloped in gang chi, leaving 2 long, narrow cracks in the earth. Everyone stared wide-eyed at the scene. Was this really someone who had just stepped into the nascent soul realm? He was practically a nascent soul powerhouse who'd been in that realm for ages. The Overlord spear was used with godlike skill. Sparks flew and shockwaves rippled, each strike transforming into hundreds of spear images. This was the terrifying power of a heaven-grade weapon, and why countless cultivators sought. Fan Xuan couldn't help but clap in admiration. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, who would believe that a disciple of the Demon Heaven Pavilion who hadn't even bloomed could take on 2 opponents at once? The remaining black guard beside him whispered, "Leader, I request permission to join the battle." Fan Xuan raised his hand to stop him, not agreeing, then turned to look at Lu Juanzhu, who remained standing there indifferently. 4 black guards were all in the nascent soul realm, and rarely showed their skills. The one sparring with Ming Xinyin was the eldest, Chen Zhonghe. The ones fighting Duan Musheng were the second, Yue Zhong, and the fourth, Duan Yanhong. The one who hadn't made a move was the third, Liang Jing, a master archer. He emphasized that the third was an archer, clearly implying that the third didn't engage in close combat so he could join the fight at any time. Heaven-grade weapons were extremely rare. Liang Jing wasn't so lucky, so he could only use the earth-grade godly archer bow, but with this bow in hand, as long as he aimed, he'd hit his target every time. The godly archer bow behind Liang Jing resonated with his dharma body, floating up and landing in his palm. Fan Xuan cupped his hands and said to Lu Zhao, "I'll say it again." Before he could finish, a resonance of origin chi echoed from outside the main hall. The crowd looked up in astonishment. Zhu Jifeng exclaimed, "Dharma body blooming." When blooming, the Dharma body would instantly expand, increasing in height and width, with chi and origin chi surging in. This third senior brother's talent is truly astonishing. He's actually blooming. During a fight, blooming meant a sudden surge in cultivation. It was at this moment that they saw Duan Musheng roar, the Overlord spear spinning, the robes on Duan Musheng's body shattering, revealing his robust and powerful physique, his arms stretched taut, and gang chi exploding from his entire body. This was the explosive power released when blooming. The 2nd and 4th black guards couldn't help but retreat. The Overlord spear slashed down, the spearhead chopping through the chains. Clang! The chains snapped. Duan Musheng was like a rampaging beast, gripping the Overlord spear tightly. "Witness my might, you punks!" The 3 of them charged back into battle, the situation growing increasingly intense. Lu Zhao didn't expect Duan Musheng to break through in cultivation. He nodded in satisfaction. Fan Xuan waved his hand, his meaning clear. "Obey orders." The third, the godly archer Lian Qing, raised his hand, drawing back the godly archer bow. Twang, the origin chi and gang chi, vibrated powerfully. Lu Zhao stroked his beard calmly and said, "This old man hates sneak attacks the most." He raised his right hand, extending his arm. In his palm he held a prop card that had shattered and was rotating counterclockwise, creating a small vortex. The surrounding origin chi was instantly absorbed by this vortex. Lu Zhao gently flicked his sleeve, sending out a palm strike, targeting the godly archer, Yi Qing. Get out of the way, Fan Xuan panicked. He hadn't expected Lu Jiao to strike. At this moment he thought Lu Jiao would continue to observe the situation. A massive hand seal flew forward. The Great Seal of Fearlessness. Once the Great Seal of Fearlessness appears, all beings are at peace, no longer afraid. Fan Xuan immediately felt the terror of the palm seal and hurriedly pushed Li Qing away. Li Qing, drawing his bow, quickly flew out of the main hall. The Great Seal of Fearlessness continued to fly forward, its speed increasing. Fan Xuan used his powerful Gang Qi to try to block it. What a waste. Lu Jiao shook his head. Everyone looked on, dumbfounded, unable to speak. The Great Seal of Fearlessness continued to fly towards Li Qing. This scene was extremely similar to when Lu Jiao used a single hand to crush the monk Kong Xuan in the Holy Altar Square. But there was still a difference. Crushing Kong Xuan was the Great Vajra Wheel Hand Seal, transforming from small to large, an unexpected burst of speed, while the Great Seal of Fearlessness was not only extremely large, but also extremely fast. Li Qing, who was floating in the air, suddenly froze. His left hand gripped the godly archer bow, his right hand drew back the bowstring, forming an arrow with Gang Qi. His movements were as swift as flowing water, displaying his powerful strength. Unfortunately, the Great Seal of Fearlessness was unstoppable. The arrow touched the hand seal, creating only tiny ripples that vanished into nothingness, as if they had been fused by the hand seal. How could this be? Li Qing's eyes widened. His gaze, which had been full of confidence, instantly turned to fear and despair. Powerful energy, like lava from a volcano, crashed into Liu Qing. No one saw clearly how Liu Qing was defeated. After the Great Seal of Fearlessness flew out, the massive hand seal blocked everyone's view. From behind, they only saw the Great Seal of Fearlessness crash into Liu Qing and then disappear. Where Li Qing had once floated was now empty. Nothing remained. Time seemed to have frozen. Before Fan Xuan could even unleash his Dharma body to rescue him, his most loyal and capable subordinate had been reduced to ashes. His Gang Qi dispersion had been completely ineffective. He could only watch helplessly as the hand seal crashed down, a sense of powerlessness welling up within him. This sense of powerlessness filled him with horror. The owner of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, Ji Tiandao, seemed far more complex than he had thought. Fan Xuan was lost in thought, his eyes still filled with disbelief. Outside the hall, the sounds of Duan Musheng fighting the two Black Guard experts continued. Was this the true strength of the Demon Heaven Pavilion? What life expectancy crisis? What sharp decline in cultivation? A single move had defeated the nascent Soul Realm godly archer Li Qing. Ji Tiandao's strength was still at its peak, just like before. Master is so awesome! Zhao Yanhair clapped, breaking the silence in the hall. She pointed at Fan Xuan and said, Master, what about him? Zhu Jifeng and Pan Zhang only felt admiration, not as much shock as Fan Xuan, because they had seen even more exaggerated scenes. When Lu Zhu was at Ji Tiandao's peak, the tea breaks he spent constantly using great divine power techniques, casually killing opponents, were far more terrifying than a single Great Seal of Fearlessness. Ye Tiangxin took a step back, her frail body making it difficult to stand straight, and she slumped down into a chair. If it weren't for the disciples of the Moonfall sect supporting her, it was likely that no one would want to approach her. Fan Xuan's black mask didn't reveal the expression on his face, but his silence and straight spine seemed to indicate that he was extremely angry and unwilling to accept this. You killed those other Black Guards. I won't bother arguing about it. But anyone who dares to touch the 4 Great Black Knights is making an enemy of me. Fan Xuan gritted out each word. Everyone could feel the shift in Fan Xuan's aura. He was calling Lu Zhu Yu now. Clearly he was pissed. Lu Zhao casually glanced at the fight going on outside the hall. Duan Musheng was getting more and more into it. The more he fought, the better he synced up with his overlord's spear. At first, the 2 Black Knights had the upper hand, but now they were evenly matched with Duan Musheng. It wouldn't be long before Duan Musheng took the win. As for Ming Xi Yin, Lu Zhu wasn't worried at all. He was more worried about that poor bastard Chen Zhonghe. Golden Court Mountain was basically the Evil Sky Pavilion's turf, usually. The master kept watch and kept his disciples in line, so they didn't dare wander off. They could only mess around on Golden Court Mountain, so they knew every nook and cranny of the mountain like the back of their hands. Ming Xinyin was running and fighting, clearly using his knowledge of the terrain to mess with his opponent. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and looked at Fan Xuan, saying coldly, You really think too highly of yourself. Fan Xuan slightly cupped his fist, and his primal chi started to tremble. The others in the hall all took a step back. They knew Fan Xuan was about to make his move. Evil Sky Pavilion. If justice isn't served to Li Qing, all my Black Knight brothers, and those who care about us, won't let this go. With each word Fan Xuan spoke, his aura intensified, growing stronger and more formidable. Lu Zhao remained as calm as ever. He wasn't going to attack just yet. He wanted to see what tricks this former top dog of the black ranking had up his sleeve. What gave him the courage to stand there and brag. A buzzing sound of resonating primal chi burst forth from Fan Xuan. If the Evil Sky Pavilion's architecture wasn't so sturdy and protected by special formations, his avatar's appearance alone would have been enough to collapse the entire Evil Sky Pavilion. A massive avatar appeared in the air. 8 leaves. Zhu Jifeng frowned, secretly shocked. If they hadn't seen Lu Zhao's avatar with their own eyes, they might have been intimidated by Fan Xuan. Same as 8 leaves, but there are still levels. Ji Tiandao was already at 8 leaves 300 years ago when he took first place in the black ranking, not to mention that now he has a 9-leaf avatar. Lu Zhao kept stroking his beard. Completely disregarding Fan Xuan, he said indifferently, Is this all you've got, you little rascal? Fan Xuan said in a deep voice. Centuries ago, we fought to a draw. If we fight again now, although I can't win, I can still fight you to a draw. As soon as he said that, Fan Xuan's figure shot forward like a ghost, leaving behind after images. Everyone staggered back. Fan Xuan's target was only the master of the evil sky pavilion, Lu Zhao, who was sitting still on his chair. Without a second thought, Lu Zhao slightly waved his sleeve. Whoosh! A Vajra seal appeared from Lu Zhao's sleeve, suddenly transforming into a large net in front of him. The Dao concealment technique? Lu Zhao stroked his beard. He originally thought he would have to waste an invincibility card, but the binding cage card was proving to be pretty effective. Was it going to hit with that 30% chance? Even if it didn't, it was enough to take a step back. Fan Xuan, the net revealed layers of golden light, growing larger and larger. What kind of move is that? Everyone looked on in admiration. They had never seen anything like it from the cultivation sects of Great Yan. All they could do was stare in astonishment as the net rushed forward. Fan Xuan shouted, "You think this kind of trick can stop the Dao concealment technique of an 8-leaf? Are you overestimating yourself?" Whoosh! Fan Xuan's figure flickered, dodging the huge net. 10 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter. Bang! Before he could reach him, the net suddenly flattened out in the air, gradually transforming into a cubic cage, growing larger and larger, emitting a glittering golden light. Then it slammed down on the main hall. Bang! Fan Xuan's Dao concealment technique slammed into the cage, trapping a nascent Divinity Realm 8-leaf. Reward: 200 merit points. Binding cage successful. Lu Zhao nodded with satisfaction. A cage. It was really a cage, not just a big net. This thing was even better than he thought. If he killed this 8-leaf, how many merit points would he get? The merit points awarded for capturing him were much less than capturing a disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion. If this hadn't succeeded by chance, then using the binding cage card would have been a loss. Fan Xuan slammed into the walls of the cage, but it was no use. Coldly. "I'll ask you one more time. Who is the mastermind behind the Yulong Village incident?" Lu Zhao asked with his hands behind his back. At the same time, the cage began to slowly tighten. The cage originally occupied the entire space between the main halls, but now it began to shrink, constantly contracting. Fan Xuan retreated, not answering Lu Zhao's question, but looked at the cage surrounding him on all sides, and said in a low voice, "You want to trap me?" Those 4 words, "you want to trap me," were full of confidence. Anyone with the cultivation of an 8-leaf nascent divinity realm would have such strong confidence. The hexagonal cage formed a square cube, continuing to contract. Fan Xuan took 3 steps back, his hands in front of him. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. Dao Zhuao concealment, great divine power technique. He just happened to want to test how strong the binding cage was. Whether it was strong enough to resist the great divine power technique. Fan Xuan's stance was complete. And in an instant the energy exploded. In an instant, boom! The cage shrank again. Boom, boom, boom. Countless after images constantly collided with the walls of the cage, like an enraged wild beast ramming into all sides. The eyes of ordinary people could not keep up with his after images. The speed was too fast. Fortunately, all of the people in the hall were powerful cultivators and could see, only not very clearly. Even so, Fan Xuan's fighting power still shocked everyone. The sound of collisions continued to echo throughout the hall. But no matter what moves he used, he could not escape from the binding cage. Lu Zhao shook his head helplessly. "You're just unlucky. You actually got hit by a 30% chance attack." Lu Zhao felt it was a bit noisy, and silently chanted. The binding cage followed his order, immediately contracting and pressing against Fan Xuan. Crack! The gray armor shattered, the mask fell off, and Fan Xuan's face was revealed. Lu Zhao glanced at him and then looked away. His appearance had been ruined, and looked a bit ferocious. People who walk by the river often get their shoes wet. 300 years ago, Fan Xuan did many evil things, and was the target of everyone who wanted to beat him up and kill him. But unfortunately, the path he took was completely different. Jitian Dao, seeing his appearance now, was a bit mocking. "From beginning to end, you have overestimated yourself," Lu Zhao said calmly. Fan Xuan had completely given up resisting. He felt that the binding cage was tightly imprisoning him, not only his body, but also his cultivation. He tried to mobilize the primal qi in his Danshin, but it was useless. Relying solely on the power of his body, it was even more impossible to escape from the cage. Fan Xuan unwillingly looked at Lu Zhao. Lu Zhao still maintained a calm and composed appearance, as if everything in front of him was under his control. And the truth was, it was, old senior, what do you want? Fan Xuan could not understand. The strength of the Evil Sky Pavilion was completely beyond his expectations, and what happened today had exceeded his control. Lu Zhao said calmly, "Who's the mastermind behind the Yulong Village massacre?" Fan Xuan looked at the powerful old devil with disbelief. He actually offended the Black Knights and the big shots in Quan for a traitor? Fan Xuan turned his head away. Lu Zhao didn't care. "I have plenty of time." Fan Xuan coughed and said, "In 15 years, at most 15 years, who under this sky will remember Jitian Dao?" Xiao Yannier waved her little fist and retorted, "I will." Fan Xuan didn't bother to reply, just glanced at the little girl. Lu Zhao nodded slightly and said, "That's not important, old-timer. Killing me won't do any good. You join the Black Knights and disregard life and death. Even if all the Black Knights die in battle, you won't find anything out." MPH. Empty words. Lu Zhao gently shook his head, no longer paying attention to Fan Xuan. "You can join the power of the Dark Department, the Black Knights. 300 years have been enough to train their tongues. They always keep their mouths shut. Such people can't be threatened with death. Lu Juanzhao was in no hurry. If the world thinks he only has 10 years to live, then he'll just keep living despite them. He's got all the time in the world to prove them wrong. Outside the main hall, after Duan Musheng bloomed his lotus, he was like a different person. His aura was fierce. His primal chi was strong and domineering. This kind of fighting style looks rough on the surface, but it hides finesse within. Every time the two Black Knights were about to touch him, Duan Musheng could always dodge. The battle between the three was extremely intense, and the bluestone floor outside the Domination Pavilion's main hall was completely shattered. But that's not important. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and calmly watched the battle. The two sides were evenly matched. Seeing this, Lu Zhao said in a deep voice, "Too slow." The reminder, accompanied by a trace of primal chi, spread as a sound wave, falling into Duan Musheng's ears. Duan Musheng understood. His speed suddenly exploded. The Overlord's spear in his hand was so fast that its form couldn't be seen, leaving only after images everywhere. The two Black Knights were shocked. The gang chi on both sides had been colliding constantly, making it almost impossible to increase speed and moves, yet Duan Musheng could still do it. A monster. Lu Zhuhao pointed to the battle in the arena and said to Fan Xuan, "Dimwit, you not only overestimate yourself, but also underestimate the Mosian Pavilion." Duan Musheng gained the upper hand again. The two Black Knights felt the pressure suddenly increase, and hundreds and thousands of spear shadows kept stabbing at them, not caring whether you have gang chi or not, and not afraid of your Dharma body protecting you. The Overlord's spear, when used to its limit, has the power to destroy Dharma bodies. Boom, boom, boom. The two Black Knights couldn't withstand it with their Dharma bodies and gradually retreated. How could this be? A nascent soul realm, at the initial Lotus stage, could actually face head-on a nascent soul second Lotus stage and a nascent soul third Lotus stage. But Duan Musheng did it. Just as Duan Musheng was fighting like crazy, Lu Zhao glanced over and transmitted his voice. "If you don't use your strongest move now, when will you?" Any strongest move can be called a grand divine ability. This kind of move consumes a lot of primal chi, so it's destined that it can't be used many times, but Duan Musheng looked like a machine that never runs out of primal chi, never showing any fatigue from beginning to end. His master's guidance boosted his confidence. The Overlord's spear swung his spear and sword, 100 rivers flowing into the sea. The scene of Lu Juju, demonstrating that strongest move, appeared in his mind. Heaven's embrace has flaws. Spear shadows like dense spots of light appeared in the sky, too many to count, falling straight towards the two Black Knights. Retreat! The two Black Knights retreated quickly, but it was too late. Boom, boom, boom. The protective gang chi of the two Black Knights was pierced by the Overlord's spear, and the spear shadows continued to stab forward, stabbing 2 more times. The two flew out, landing on the damaged bluestone floor with a thud. Fresh blood spilled from their shoulders. The two covered their wounds, their faces frightened, as they looked at Duan Musheng. They lost. Completely lost. No conspiracy. No taking advantage of someone in trouble. He openly and honestly fought 2 against 1. Lu Zhao remained calm, stroking his beard and nodding. Duan Musheng won the victory. His confidence amplified. His mood extremely excited him. He knelt on one knee, clasped his fists and said, "Disciple thanks Master for the guidance, and luckily didn't disgrace his mission by defeating these two." Duan Musheng still gripped the Overlord's spear tightly, pointing it towards Yue Chong and Duan Yanhong in the distance, afraid that they would escape. Fan Xuan's eyes were filled with disbelief. "One left," Lu Zhao said indifferently. Fan Xuan swallowed. His previous arrogance was diminished after being hit so hard. Subordinate is incompetent. Subordinate is incompetent. Yue Chong's and Duan Yanhong's faces were filled with shame. Xiao Yanter said to the two, "What incompetent this and incompetent that? You lost to my master. You can brag about it when you go out later." Duan Musheng scratched his head, confused. "Huh, didn't you lose to me?" Xiao Yanher happily went to Lu Zhao and said, "Third senior brother's Dharma body bloomed his lotus, thanks to Master passing down the Overlord's spear to him." Her mentioning the Overlord's spear made others continue to yearn for the battle just now. The Overlord's spear shined too dazzlingly. The Black Knight experts, Yu Chong and Duan Yanhong, were convinced of their defeat. They encountered a monster like Duan Musheng, and he also had a heaven-grade weapon. Duan Musheng nodded. "Little junior sister is right. My Heaven's Embrace has flaws as far inferior to Master's. If it weren't for the Overlord's spear, I wouldn't have been able to defeat these two." Yue Chong and Duan Yanhong struggled to look up. Seeing Fan Xuan being trapped, their faces showed horror. The Black Knight leader has an 8th Lotus Dharma body. Why doesn't he have any resistance? They are 2nd Lotus, 3rd Lotus, and fought a great battle before finally losing. With the leader's cultivation, shouldn't he have a 3-day, 3-night battle with Jitian Dao and be evenly matched? It was also because they were focused on fighting Duan Musheng that they didn't pay attention to the movements inside the main hall. In the Moshian Pavilion, Lu Zhao was still standing calmly in the main hall, his eyes looking towards Yue Chong and Duan Yanhong, and said calmly, "Seal their cultivation. Disciple obeys." Duan Musheng clasped his hands. At this time, Pan Zhang suddenly stepped forward. "Please leave this kind of thing to me. I'm quite good at this." The cultivation of cultivators goes from the Dantian Qi Si through the 8 extraordinary meridians to mobilize primal Qi. Ordinary methods of sealing the 8 meridians don't have much effect. Many cunning people will hide primal Qi in the Dantians, and after being sealed, they can secretly unlock the 8 meridians. Lu Zhao clasped his hands behind his back and nodded. The acupoint sealing technique of the Jingming Dao is indeed unique. Being praised by Lu Zhao, Pan Zhang felt full of energy. Yui Chong glared and said, "The Jingming Dao, a dignified famous sect. How can there be a traitor like you?" His words made Pan Zhang instantly furious. "Shut up, loser." Pan Zhang's figure flashed, appearing in front of them, and performed the acupoint sealing technique. Standing beside him was also Duanmu Sheng, holding the Overlord spear in his hand, his eyes shining brightly as he stared at the two. Once they made any moves, he would immediately turn them into souls under his spear. After a while, Pan Zhang successfully sealed the two's cultivation. He was just a divine court realm cultivator, and he almost used up all his strength to seal a nascent soul realm expert. The primal chi in their bodies was completely gone. Pan Zhang wiped the sweat on his face and clasped his hands. "Pavilion Master, I have sealed the 8 meridians of these 2 people. Except for me, who can unlock the seal, no one else can do anything." Lu Zhao just waved his hand, signaling Pan Zhang to step down, and then said, "Imprison these 2 people and keep a close watch on them at all times. Even though their cultivation has been sealed, people still need to be found to watch them." Pan Zhang's confidence is good, but too much confidence becomes arrogance. "Yes." Pan Zhang and Zhu Jifeng stepped forward at the same time, taking the 2 away. Without cultivation, they are just fish on a chopping board. Lu Zhujiao returned to the throne in the main hall, slowly sat down, and called out a name. Yi Tiangxin. Yi Tiangxin's whole body trembled slightly, perhaps because her body had been weak for too long. Her expression looked extremely painful. When Lu Zhao called out her name, Yi Tiangxin immediately fell from the chair to the ground, kneeling, and said excitedly, "Master! Master!" Lu Zhao's expression was indifferent, shaking his head slightly. He ignored her, and turned to look at Fan Zhuwen. "Jerk, I gave you opportunities over and over again. If you don't cherish them, don't blame me for being heartless," Lu Zhao said calmly. Fan Zhuwen barely stood up straight, the cage binding him like a golden circlet still controlling him. "Old-timer, you don't need to waste your breath. My skills are inferior to yours. I'm willing to accept death." Lu Zhao shook his head. "So this 8-leaf golden lotus willing to die to keep the palace's secrets? Is this person worth you throwing your life away?" Truthfully, at this point, Lu Zhu wasn't expecting to get the mastermind's name out of him, but a secret that can keep a powerful 8-leaf golden lotus cultivator's lips so tightly sealed definitely isn't an ordinary secret. "This needs investigating for sure," Fan Zhuwen said. "What's the point of saying more now that things have come to this?" Lu Zhao shook his head, his expression still calm. Just then, the system's notification rang out. Ming Xiyin has killed a nascent soul cultivator, earning 1,000 merit points. Hearing the notification, Lu Zhu didn't react. Then, he shook his head and said, "Black Knight Chen Zhonghe, do you think he's alive or dead right now?" Fan Zhuwen thought Lu Zhao was using psychological warfare, so he coldly tilted his head and said, "Chen Zhonghe has amazing movement techniques. Although Ming Xiyin is strong, he really shouldn't have left the main hall. The vast space is more suitable for Chen Zhonghe to show off his movement skills. You killed Li Qing, Chen Zhonghe killed Ming Xiyin. It's just karma." "Karma my butt." Zhao Yanjie couldn't take it anymore and immediately shouted angrily, "You shameless, bragging jerk!" Fan Zhuwen laughed dryly. "Little girl, the evil sky pavilion is indeed very strong, but it has narrowed your vision. Back when I roamed the world, even your master couldn't do anything to me, huh? Why are you staring like that, little girl?" Zhao Yanhe's gaze shifted away from Fan Zhuwen, out of the main hall. Although Fan Zhuwen was bound and trapped in the cage, he could still turn his head to look. He saw that Duanmu Sheng, Ye Tiangxin, and the female cultivators of the Moonrise sect were also looking towards the entrance of the hall. There stood Ming Xiyin, slowly walking in, sunlight shining down on him. He looked a little disheveled and had bloodstains on him, but in his right hand he was holding a short saber. Fresh blood was dripping from the blade, falling onto the ground, drop by drop. Fan Zhuwen's eyebrows suddenly furrowed, his heart pounding in his chest. Just as he was about to move, the tip of the Overlord's spear blocked his path. "Want to die easy? I can take you out with one strike," Duanmu Sheng warned. At this moment, Ming Xiyin walked to the middle of the main hall. He looked tired, but a victorious smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. He placed the short saber on the ground and respectfully said, "Disciple didn't intentionally kill Chen Zhonghe, but he had a pinnacle Earth-grade weapon on him. Disciple had no choice but to kill him to protect himself." Fan Zhuwen's eyelids twitched incessantly. In his heart, Chen Zhonghe was certain to win this fight. Ming Xiyin had no weapon and hadn't manifested his astrolabe, while Chen Zhonghe was the strongest of the 4 Black Knights, a peak 3-leaf golden lotus, and he had an Earth-grade weapon in his hand. Cough, 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 cough. Fan Zhuwen couldn't accept this fact at all. He coughed violently, the surging blood in his chest causing him unbearable pain. The female cultivators of the Moonrise sect were shocked. The evil sky pavilion was so powerful. Compared to them, the Moonrise sect was insignificantly small. Lu Zhao listened to Ming Xiyin's report and casually praised, "Not bad?" These few words made Ming Xiyin extremely happy. His face lit up with joy as he said, "Master, this Earth-grade weapon is extremely valuable. Disciple wants to refine it," Fan Zhuwen said sternly. "How dare you," Xiao Yanxie said. "You're already in this state. How dare you still try to scare people? Chen Zhonghe is dead. Refining his weapon will make him unable to rest in peace." Ming Xiyin didn't care about such things. He requested his master's approval, wanting to refine the weapon of a dead man. As the leader of the Black Knights, Fan Zhuwen was naturally furious. But what rights did a defeated general have to speak? If this had happened in a righteous sect, he could have insulted them a few times, but this was the evil Sky Pavilion. Even if Ming Shiyin skinned Chen Zhonghe alive, he couldn't say anything. Fan Xuan could only glare at these people, trying to mobilize his primal chi again, but his dantian was still as empty as before. Fan Xuan was considered knowledgeable. He knew hundreds of cultivation sects from north to south and had seen all kinds of cultivation methods and techniques, but this binding cage technique was the first time he had seen it. People often find it difficult to resist what they don't know. Lu Zhao sat upright in the main hall, observing the short saber, and calmly said, "Present it. Disciple obeys." Ming Shiyin was secretly overjoyed. He offered the green treasure saber with both hands, respectfully presenting it to Lu Zhu. Then, he respectfully stepped back to the side. Heaven-grade weapons were extremely rare. Many cultivators couldn't obtain one in their entire lives. Moreover, if one's cultivation level didn't reach the nascent soul realm, they wouldn't dare to take out a heaven-grade weapon casually. Heaven-grade weapons were powerful, but it was extremely difficult to use them to fight opponents above one's level. Having an earth-grade weapon was already good. After some time, he would refine it a few more times to turn it into a heaven-grade weapon. It was extremely difficult to refine a weapon that had already been claimed. It would take dozens of years. But compared to the value of the weapon, many cultivators were willing to do it. Lu Zhao picked up the short saber and examined it for a while. The shape of the short saber wasn't very beautiful. If anything, it was quite ugly. Lu Zhao raised his left hand, and the unnamed sword silently appeared in his palm, slashing at the saber. Clang! The others were stunned, not understanding what Lu Zhu was planning to do. From their perspective, Lu Zhu seemed to be drawing his finger across the blade, but no matter what, this saber was a pinnacle earth-grade weapon. It was a bit ridiculous to try to cut it with bare hands, but since Lu Zhu had done it, who would dare to voice their opinion? Fan Xuan said in a deep voice, "Devil, as expected of a devil, coveting the belongings of the dead. Aren't you afraid of restless nights?" Ming Shiyin glanced at him and said, "According to you, then everyone in the cultivation world who fights over weapons can't sleep peacefully." Fan Xuan was speechless. This kind of thing happened very often. Lu Zhao finished inspecting the weapon and shook his head slightly. The unnamed sword collided, the void duality blades unharmed. This pinnacle earth-grade weapon was also undamaged. Could it be that the sharpness of the unnamed sword hadn't reached the earth-grade yet? Lu Zhao threw the short saber out. Ming Shiyin hurriedly caught it, his face full of joy. But just as he touched the saber, suddenly, with a shua sound, the blade cracked in two, turning into two pieces that fell to the ground. Ming Shiyin was dumbfounded, staring blankly at the destroyed green treasure saber. The crack was sharp and even, like a knife cutting tofu. Fan Xuan raised his eyebrows. Even Lu Zhu was surprised. He was surprised inside, but on the outside he still appeared calm and composed. This proved that the unnamed sword was stronger than a pinnacle earth-grade weapon, so its grade should be at the heaven grade. A heaven-grade weapon that could transform into all sorts of shapes was truly a priceless treasure. Ming Xinyan's face turned stiff, then turned as bitter as if he were eating a bitter gourd. He had worked so hard to obtain the weapon, only to have it broken in half by his master with his bare hands. "Master, master, was my performance not good enough?" Lu Zhao's voice finally rang out. "Just an earth-grade weapon. How can it be worthy of the evil Sky Pavilion?" Ming Shiyin was stunned. "Just an earth-grade weapon. Does that mean there are even better weapons?" Xiao Yan'er laughed playfully. "Fourth senior brother, what do you see in third senior brother's hand? It's the Overlord Spear." "Very impressive, right? Third senior brother relied on this weapon to fight two opponents at once just now." Ming Shiyin turned to look at the Overlord Spear in Duan Musheng's hand. The Overlord Spear stood proudly, and the engraved coiling dragon was enough to prove that it was no ordinary weapon. Remember when the 10 great experts besieged Golden Court Mountain? Ming Shiyin advised Duan Musheng to leave, but Duan Musheng refused, all because of the Overlord Spear. Who knew Master would bestow such a precious weapon upon Duan Musheng? So unfair, so damn unfair. Compared to a heaven-grade weapon, a peak earth-grade weapon instantly becomes trash. Maester's divine might is unmatched. This kind of garbage that can't withstand a single move from Maester is clearly trash. Ming Shiyin kicked the Azure Python saber aside. After cursing the weapon, Ming Shiyin grinned and asked, "Master, when will this disciple be granted a handy weapon too?" Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "Do your job well." Hearing this, Ming Shiyin was overjoyed. This meant he'd been promised a heaven-grade weapon, although Master didn't specify when he'd give it. Master is a man of his word, saying this is practically a guarantee. Without another word, Ming Shiyin knelt down again, clasped his hands, and kowtowed. "Thank you, Master. This disciple will definitely continue to work hard and live up to Master's expectations." Loyalty +2. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. His loyalty was much higher than when Lu Zhou first transmigrated, and it was becoming more stable. Relying solely on force to suppress people won't get you far. Palace Master, what's wrong with you? Two female cultivators from the Moon Reflection Palace suddenly helped Ye Tiangxin up. Ye Tiangxin had inexplicably fallen into a deep coma. Xiao Yan'er quickly ran over to check and said, "She's fine. Why are you making such a fuss, scaring my master?" Ming Xinyin secretly choked. Every sentence from his little junior sister was, "Master, master." He felt so inferior. Lu Zhao waved his hand and said, "Take her back to the South Pavilion and let her sober up." Disciple obeys. Xiao Yan'er took Ye Tiangxin and the two female cultivators away from the main hall of the Demon Sky Pavilion. Lu Xiao also noticed that Ye Tiangxin's hatred was rapidly decreasing, clearly because the key was the Fish Dragon Village massacre. He had originally intended for Fan Xuan to come forward and clarify the matter, but Fan Xuan stubbornly refused to speak, even unto death. This only increased Lu Ju's curiosity, and this matter was very likely related to his missing memories. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ju said indifferently, "Seal his cultivation and take him down." Disciple obeys. Ming Xiyin grabbed Fan Xuan's shoulder. Fan Xuan, bound and controlled by the cage card, was like a chick trapped in a cage. Ming Xiyin lifted him with one hand and carried him out of the main hall. Lu Ju wasn't sure how long the cage card could last. To be absolutely safe, he'd seal his cultivation for good measure. There's plenty of time. Lu Zhao still has methods to pry his mouth open and find out the name of the mastermind behind it. While he was thinking, a female cultivator slowly approached and said, Pavilion Master. The Black Knights below the mountain refuse to leave and are causing a ruckus. Fan Xuan has been captured, so they naturally won't leave. Thinking about it, this is related to someone within the palace, Lu Zhao said coldly. Fan Xuan will stay at the Demon Sky Pavilion. Tell those who are not involved to leave. He deliberately emphasized stay, indicating that Fan Xuan was still alive. What if they still refuse to leave? The female cultivator looked at Lu Zhao hesitantly. Leave it to Ming Xiyin. Yes, I'll go inform 4th senior brother immediately. At the foot of Golden Court Mountain, a few hundred meters from the barrier, dozens of Black Knights stood gazing up at the Demon Sky Pavilion. Because of the barrier, they could only stand outside and worry. Some distance away from the Black Knights, in the forest, a graceful man in green robes was silently watching the scene. Behind the green-robed man, a man in green was respectfully bowing. Senior wants to take action against these people. The green-robed swordsman didn't look at the green-clad man behind him, and a faint smile appeared on his face. Against your sect leader, I don't want to kill anyone today. I'm truly sorry. For some reason, as soon as the green-clad man heard the words, I'm truly sorry, he subconsciously took a step back and said awkwardly, Sword maniac Chen Wenji has already been killed by Senior. I wonder who Senior's next target is. The green-robed swordsman glanced at him, and the green-clad man took a few more steps back. He was extremely uneasy, fearing that this Senior would say, Your next target is you, the green-robed swordsman said indifferently. Don't be afraid, I always treat people gently. Your sect leader understands this best. It's just that Senior's aura is too powerful, so this junior feels a little pressure. Please don't blame me. The green-clad man's legs were trembling. That's good. The green-robed swordsman replied calmly, I'm very grateful for your help in delivering the information to me during this time. The green-clad man wiped the sweat from his face and breathed a sigh of relief. Just then, the green-robed swordsman added, However, if I want to kill you, I will definitely tell you in advance, friend. He paused slightly before saying the word friend. The green-clad man wanted to cry on the spot. Even before killing someone, he had to notify his opponent. The green-clad man didn't dare to reply and could only stand obediently behind him. The green-robed swordsman turned to look at the Black Knights, shook his head slightly, and sighed. Black Knight leader Fan Xuan has been on the mountain for half a day. He probably won't be coming out. Senior, are you not waiting anymore? The remaining ones are uninteresting. The green-robed swordsman turned around, and in a flash he took dozens of steps, disappearing into the mountains and forests in the blink of an eye. The green-clad man almost slumped to the ground, secretly breathing a sigh of relief. This damn task is really trying to kill me. After calming his emotions, the green-clad man observed the team in front of him. At this moment, a figure suddenly flew out of the barrier, circled over the heads of the Black Knights, and then returned to the Demon Sky Pavilion. Ming Xiyin. No matter how well trained the Black Knights were, they had to retreat again and again under the threat of Ming Xiyin, slowly leaving Golden Court Mountain. The green-clad man nodded and muttered. No wonder Sword Devil Senior didn't want to stay. Even 8-leaf Fan Xuan can't do anything to the Demon Sky Pavilion. Aha. The old devil's methods are truly admirable. The green-clad man's figure also flickered and disappeared into the mountains and forests. On the Demon Sky Pavilion, Lu Zhu looked at the merit points on the system interface. Only 22 M points. The merit points awarded for capturing Fan Xuan were far less than the rewards for killing a nascent Soul Realm expert, which was 5 points. Fortunately, he drew twice last time, so he'll only draw once this time. Third time's the charm. Lucky draw consumes 50 merit points. Thank you, host, for participating in the game. Luck points +1. Lu Zhao hung his head, trying to restrain the urge to continue drawing. This game is similar to Qi refining. The longer you wait, the more chances you have of winning. You can't get reckless. 5 Qi Convergence Dharmic Body costs 8,000 merit points. Lu Zhao frowned. Even if he killed all of Fan Xuan's men, it wouldn't be enough. This is only 5 Qi Convergence. Later, he'll have to buy 6 Harmonies Separation Dharmic Body, 7 Stars Soul Shift, 8 Laws Unification. These things definitely ain't gonna be cheaper than the 5 Qi Convergence. Lu Zhu waved his hand, and the interface vanished. It's not that difficult, but damn, it took the Heavenly Tao thousands of years to reach its peak. How long have I been cultivating? Haste makes waste. Master. Disciple has locked them up. I guarantee no mishaps will occur. Master. Your wisdom illuminates the world. Your benevolence is boundless. Zoom! Ming Xiyin ran into the main hall from a distance. Seeing Lu Zhao deep in thought, he immediately bowed and scraped, the very picture of extreme sycophancy. Perhaps because he'd gotten used to seeing it, Lu Zhao no longer found it particularly offensive. If he likes to fawn, then let him be, Lu Jiao thought. This fella made Lu Jiao feel as if he'd been possessed by the spirit of He Shen. Note: He Shen was an influential minister during the Qianlong Emperor's reign. Not only the #1 corrupt official of the Qing dynasty, but also someone with extraordinary flattery skills. What is it? Lu Jiao asked casually. Master, Fan Xuan still refuses to reveal the mastermind behind the Yulong village massacre. This disciple thinks we should. Ming Shiyin made a chopping motion, a smile still plastered on his face. Lu Jiao glared at him. Fan Xuan is the leader of the Black Knights. Do you think he'd let you frame him so easily? If he insists on not confessing, what do we do? Ming Shiyin asked doubtfully. No rush. Lu Jiao slowly stood up, put his hands behind his back, and stepped down the stairs. To be able to command someone like Fan Xuan, the person behind the scenes, is no simple character. Master is planning to take action against someone in the palace? Ming Shiyin carefully probed. Lu Jiao's expression was calm, and he didn't answer. Right now, his only source of information about the people in the palace is Jiang Aijian. Jiang Aijian was able to obtain the case files from the palace, which is obviously a high-level trick. But the problem is that Jiang Aijian has already left the palace. How could he casually get secret stuff like case files? Perhaps this case file was deliberately leaked by someone in the palace, so that the Demon Heaven Pavilion and the Black Knights would both become pawns in his hands, for him to use as he pleases. Thinking of this, Lu Jiao said calmly, Ming Shiyin, your disciple is here. I'm leaving the interrogation of Fan Xuan to you. Lu Jiao waved his hand. Ming Shiyin respectfully replied, your disciple will obey your orders. Your disciple will definitely interrogate him quickly and find out the mastermind behind this. After saying this, Ming Shiyin raised his head again. Master, Fan Xuan alone is already so powerful, plus there are 2 masters in the Black Knights. This disciple has only just entered the nascent soul realm, and doesn't even have a handy weapon yet. Do you think you should? Scram! Your disciple obeys. Ming Shiyin immediately shut his mouth and scurried out of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, his face as bitter as a gourd. What weapon? What heavenly grade? Remembering the destroyed Qingtuan saber, his heart ached with grief. Fourth. Hey, is someone calling me? Annoyed, Ming Shiyin snapped. Fourth. Come train with me for a bit, check out my overlord spear, Duan Musheng said as he twirled the overlord spear in his hand. Third senior brother. I have things to do, I can't. In the entire Demon Heaven Pavilion, only you can exchange a few moves with me. Pan Zhong and Zhu Jifeng are no match for me anymore. I can't train properly. Duan Musheng stepped forward and slapped his shoulder twice. Ming Xiyin's eyes darted around, then he said, Master told me to interrogate Fan Xuan. This matter is related to the truth of Yulong village. Why don't senior brother go find little junior sister to spar? No sooner said than done. Xiao Yanhair glided across the midair and landed on a nearby branch. I'm gonna tell Master you guys are bullying me. After saying that, she immediately left. Duan Musheng raised his eyebrows, sighed, and shook his head. Let's interrogate Fan Xuan later. Let's spar a bit now. He slapped Ming Xiyin's shoulder again. Senior brother. Easy on the hands. Not long after, a one-sided beatdown could be heard from the back of the mountain. When Duan Musheng didn't have the Overlord Spear, he could already suppress Ming Shiyin. Now that he has a weapon, what more needs to be said? At the same time, Lu Jiao was preparing to comprehend the heavenly book, when Xiao Yan'er ran into the main hall. Master, Jiang Aijian sent a flying letter. Read. Xiao Yan'er took the letter from her leather pouch and read it aloud. Weakening the power of the Black Knights is what the people in the palace want, so old senior doesn't need to worry about the people in the palace being hostile to the Demon Heaven Pavilion. Lu Jiao became suspicious. Why would the Dark Division, which is directly managed by the Emperor, want to weaken it? Xiao Yan'er continued reading. Senior wants to investigate the truth of the Yulong village massacre, but unfortunately, even I, who knows everything, am unclear about this matter. However, the mastermind is definitely not the Emperor. Reading to this, Xiao Yan'er grit her teeth and made rattling sounds. It is said that Yulong village in Dutian River has many secrets. Even now, there are occasional soldiers patrolling there. This is a top-secret file, and it cannot be investigated. In addition, please accept these 2 pieces of news. First, the sword maniac Chen Wenji has been killed by Yu Shangrong. See, didn't I guess it right? Those with uncertain positions die quickly. Second, the sect leader of the demon-killing sect, Ren Buping, has left seclusion and set off for Qingyu Pool to meet Zheng Yidao. Lastly, don't forget my sword, ha ha ha. Lu Jiao was temporarily only concerned about the affairs of Yulong village. He didn't take other matters to heart at all. Doubts arose in his heart. There are still soldiers patrolling Yulong village even now, and even Jiang Aijian calls it a top-secret file. It can be seen that the situation is much more complicated than he imagined. Heavy troops are stationed there. Seeing Master deep in thought, Xiao Yan'er hesitated as if she had something to say, but she still didn't dare to open her mouth. Lu Zhujiao raised his head, saw her hesitant expression, and asked, Is there anything else? Master, please don't punish me. Xiao Yan'er hugged Lu Zhu's arm, acting coquettishly. If it were before, she would never have dared to do such a thing. But this also shows that Lu Zhao has influenced Xiao Yan'er. At least now, her courage is bigger than before. She is being taught, little by little. I just hope she doesn't go down the wrong path in the future. Lu Zhao shook his head. I'm thinking too far ahead, Xiao Yan'er said excitedly. I knew Master wouldn't punish me. I want a heavenly grade weapon, just like the Overlord Spear, one that is big and imposing. Lu Zhao reached out and flicked her forehead, rebuking. How many times has this master told you? Your cultivation is not enough to control a heavenly grade weapon. When you enter the nascent soul realm, we'll talk about it, really. This master has always valued his promises. Xiao Yanhe smiled and said, yes, I will definitely break through to the nascent soul realm soon. Compared to the other disciples, Xiao Yanhe's loyalty is the highest, so he often takes her with him. Lu Zhao naturally hopes that Xiao Yanhe's cultivation will be improved before he recovers his cultivation. Xiao Yanhe is his right-hand woman, and she is pure-hearted and doesn't have much life experience, so teaching her is also simpler than teaching those other disciples. Thinking of the matter of teaching disciples, Lu Zhao opened the task interface with a thought. His main storyline mission is still to teach these evil disciples. Duan Musheng, Ming Shiyin, and Zhao Yue all have a certain degree of loyalty, so teaching them is not too difficult. But as for those who have left the Demon Heaven Pavilion, teaching them is extremely difficult. Old Eight's cultivation is the weakest. There is no need to worry, this guy's reputation as an evil king is only thanks to the fame of a Demon Heaven Pavilion disciple. As for oldest Yu Zhenghai, second oldest Yu Shangrong, and seventh oldest Si Wuyai, these three give Lu Zhao quite the headache. Not only do they have heavenly grade weapons, but their cultivation is also heaven-defying. Not only that, but they can't be fought one-on-one, and each of them has a powerful gang like the Black Knights. Just thinking of this, Lu Zhao again yearned for Jitiandao's peak state card. If I had an endless supply of peak condition stat cards, wouldn't I be able to dominate the world and fear no one? Sect leader, Zhu Jifeng, stepped forward and clasped his hands. Mr. Lu, oh no. Ye Tiangxin has awakened and wishes to see you. Lu Zhao had confined Ye Tiangxin to the South Pavilion, and without his orders, no one dared to release her, not even the female cultivators of the Moon-Reflecting Sect. With Jinting Mountain short-handed, they were put to menial tasks, which the Moon-Reflecting Sect cultivators were happy to do. After all, working was much better than being locked up in solitary confinement. Refused to see her, Lu Zhao said indifferently. Yes. Zhu Jifeng cupped his fist and left. Having received her master's promise, Xiao Yanhe suddenly became incredibly diligent and went out to cultivate. Seeing that no one was bothering him, Lu Zhao entered a state of comprehending the heavenly writing. As dusk approached, Zhu Jifeng re-entered the main hall. Sect leader, Ye Tiangxin, says that if she can't see you, she will kneel forever. She is currently kneeling at the East Pavilion gate. Then let her kneel. Understood. After Zhu Jifeng left, Lu Zhao did not continue sitting in the main hall, but went into the secret chamber, entered a state of comprehension, and discarded all distracting thoughts, his mind clear. The next morning, Lu Zhao awoke from his state of comprehending the heavenly writing. He felt refreshed and invigorated. Even more so than after a deep sleep, Lu Zhao stood up and stretched his limbs. He felt as good as new. Perhaps this was the effect of extraordinary power, but he simply didn't know how to use it. Either way, comprehending the heavenly writing was bringing increasingly obvious benefits. Sect leader. A voice came from outside the secret chamber. What is it? Lu Zhao asked. Activating the mechanism to open the chamber door, Ye Tiangxin has been kneeling all night. Lu Zhao waved his sleeve and said, ignore her, and don't report it to me again. Yes, Zhu Jifeng left again. Punishing the evil disciple Ye Tiangxin gained 100 merit points. Lu Zhao noticed that the system notification said, punishing, not teaching. Although the hatred value has disappeared, the loyalty value has not yet appeared. If I don't punish her thoroughly, how can I live up to my identity as the founder of the Evil Sky Pavilion? Lu Zhao entered the Evil Sky Pavilion's main hall, just as Ming Shiyin was also there, his face bruised and battered. Lu Zhao was too lazy to ask, and only said, how is the interrogation going? Ming Shiyin bowed and replied, Fan Xuan is keeping his mouth shut too tightly. If not for remembering Master's instructions, this disciple would have used torture long ago. The Black Knights use no less torture than we do. I already expected nothing to come from the interrogation. Lu Zhao didn't think much about it, Ming Xiyin said. Then why not just kill him? There's no use in keeping him alive anyway. Lu Zhao waved his hand. He's useful. An 8-leaf Golden Lotus nascent soul expert. Killing him would grant a lot of merit points, but compared to uncovering the mastermind and the secrets of Yulong Village, Lu Zhao thought the latter was more valuable. Ming Shiyin. This master assigns you the task of going to Yulong Village on the Du Tian River to investigate the matter. You must not act rashly. Lu Zhao's voice was very stern. Ming Xinyin didn't secretly rejoice as before, but respectfully replied, this disciple will obey Master's command. Lu Zhao originally intended to lend him his mount, but the mount was too flamboyant and would easily attract attention, so he decided against it. Ming Shiyin was, after all, a nascent divinity realm cultivator. Flying from Jinting Mountain to Yulong Village would only take about 4 hours. Yulong Village has heavily guarded troops, so how did Ye Tiangxin investigate the matter? After leaving Jinting Mountain, I still have to ask this rebellious disciple. Lu Zhao shook his head, stepped down the stairs, and headed towards the South Pavilion. From a distance he could see Ye Tiangxin kneeling on the ground, right in front of the South Pavilion gate, looking extremely weak. Ye Tiangxin just lifted her eyelids and immediately perked up, kneeling on the ground to salute. Master, master. Lu Zhao looked at her coldly and shook his head again. This old man doesn't have a rebellious disciple like you. Lu Zhao saw the regret and remorse in Ye Tiangxin's eyes. But it was too late. Ye Tiangxin thought that her master had come to see her, and she secretly rejoiced in her heart. But Lu Zhao's voice was very indifferent. This old man has something to ask you. You only need to answer. Disciple obeys. Ye Tiangxin originally intended to refer to herself as disciple, but she forcefully swallowed the word down. When did you investigate the Yulong Village matter? Ye Tiangxin was slightly stunned. She originally thought that her master would lecture her. But she never expected that what her master cared about was the Yulong village matter. Her heart was filled with all kinds of feelings. After thinking for a while, she honestly replied, 5 years after leaving Jinting Mountain. How did you find out? Case files in the palace. Some of the sisters in the moon-reflecting sect were female guards in the palace. They were familiar with the rules and terrain inside, and prepared for the intrusion. It took 5 years to obtain the case files. She spoke simply. But in reality, it took 5 years to obtain the case files, truly exhausting all her resources. Ye Tiangxin continued to say, perhaps the case of the massacre of the entire Yulong village was only a small matter in the eyes of the important figures in the palace, but all of the several hundred people in Yulong village were. Mentioning this matter again, she felt agitated. Lu Zhao said indifferently, so, this is the reason you hold a grudge against this old man. Upon hearing this, Yi Tiangxin's mind went blank. The 3 parts of energy and spirit she had left instantly became listless, without any vitality. Lu Zhao continued to ask, has the moon-reflecting sect ever been to the Dutian River? Yi Tiangxin replied, the moon-reflecting sect has been to the Dutian River several times. People in the sect said that there were many foreign races in the Dutian River. But the moon-reflecting sect spent several years investigating and couldn't find any foreign races. From this statement, it could be heard that she didn't seem to know that she was a Bai Min. However, according to Lu Zhao's memories, the Bai Min were not necessarily considered a foreign race, but rather a special group among the human race of Great Yan. If not, how could commoners of Bai dare to live by the Crossing Heaven River their whole lives? Clearly the palace is just using the excuse of foreign races to cover something up. Seeing his master stroke his beard thoughtfully, Ye Tiangxin suddenly knelt down, her forehead touching the floor. Disciple is willing to accept punishment, begging master to severely punish me. You've seen things a bit clearer. Lu Zhao shook his head and said gravely, of course, betraying the master and destroying the ancestors must be severely punished. But right now, the truth of the Yulong village case is still unclear. Perhaps Fan Xuan is just a pawn. If, in the end, it turns out I'm the culprit, what do you plan to do? Ye Tiangxin was stunned. A sense of powerlessness washed over her. She didn't know who to trust anymore. Lock her in the South Pavilion. She's not allowed to leave a single step. Lu Zhao waved his hand. The 2 female cultivators from the Moon-Watching Palace had no choice but to nod and lead Ye Tiangxin away. Lu Zhao returned to the Demon Heaven Pavilion. The next day, Lu Zhao continued to comprehend the Heavenly Book as usual. As the time spent comprehending the Heavenly Book increased, the amount of readable text in the Heavenly Book of Man also increased, but the content was still extremely profound and difficult to understand. After comprehending for a while, Lu Zhu felt his spirit, energy, and essence were in tip-top shape. Lottery draw, consuming 50 merit points, thank you for participating, luck +1. Lottery draw, consuming 50 merit points, thank you for participating, luck +1. Lu Zhao shook his head. Maybe comprehending the Heavenly Book used up all his luck. He'd try the lottery another time. He couldn't afford to waste the remaining merit points. He only had one hit kill card left anyway. In an emergency, he'd still need merit points to replenish his strength. Ming Shiyin has completed the mission of investigating the Crossing Heaven River, rewarding 100 merit points. Hearing this notification, Lu Zhao wasn't surprised at all. Ming Shiyin was way better than everyone else when it came to executing missions. Any minute now, he should get a letter from Ming Shiyin reporting his mission success. But strangely, Lu Zhao waited 3 hours, and not a single letter showed up. The Demon Heaven Pavilion always used carrier pigeons, and their flying speed wasn't any slower than legendary mounts. There's no way it'd still haven't arrived after 3 hours. Yan Hair. Send a letter to Jiang Aijian. Tell him to assist in investigating the truth behind the Yulong village incident from within the palace. If he uncovers anything, he'll get a good sword, Lu Zhou said. Lu Zhou had a feeling that Ming Shiyin might be in trouble, and it wasn't small trouble either. A moment later, Xiao Yanyer returned, smiling. Master, I've sent the letter to him. Just then, Zhu Jifeng hurried into the Demon Heaven Pavilion's main hall. Fourth senior is injured, Zhao Yanher asked in surprise. What happened to fourth senior brother? Lu Zhao was suspicious. Last time he told him to notify Fan Xuan, he killed a few Black Knights and was fine, but investigating the Yulong village incident got him into trouble. The secrets behind this are definitely complex. Lu Zhao maintained his calm expression, stroking his beard nonchalantly. Where is he now? He's back at the foot of the mountain. Pan Zhong is helping fourth senior up. Soon after, Pan Zhong brought Ming Shiyin into the main hall. Ming Shiyin looked a bit like he did after fighting the Dark Knight Chen Zhonghe. Ming Shiyin knelt down and said, Disciple was fortunate enough not to disgrace his mission and found some clues at the Crossing Heaven River. Speak. There are many soldiers patrolling Yulong village by the Crossing Heaven River. This has been going on for the past 10 years. Taking advantage of the night, Disciple investigated the Crossing Heaven River and made a major discovery. Ming Shiyin swallowed. They seemed to be fishing corpses out of the river. Everyone in the hall was shocked. Whether the rumors of foreign races appearing at the Crossing Heaven River are true or not is another matter. But that's not enough reason for them to fish out corpses that have been submerged for so long, let alone do it for 10 years. Do you know the purpose of fishing out the corpses? Lu Zhao asked. Disciple was about to continue investigating when I accidentally triggered a strange trap and had to return immediately in the night. Ming Shiyin replied weakly. Lu Zhao slowly stood up, walked down the steps, and went to Ming Shiyin's side. Ming Shiyin knelt even lower. Disciple is useless. Raise your head. Lu Zhao said with extreme authority. Ming Shiyin slowly raised his head. Sure enough, between Ming Shiyin's eyebrows, Lu Zhao saw a black lotus of witchcraft. Pan Zhang was closest to him, but he didn't notice this when he helped him back. He tilted his head to look and realized it was indeed witchcraft. No wonder 4th Senior was ambushed. It was witchcraft. It's extremely rare for cultivators to use witchcraft in Great Yan. Who dares to harm 4th Senior? Lu Zhao didn't answer his question but looked at Ming Shiyin. There are likely traps all along the shore of the Crossing Heaven River. Master, I'm fine. I just feel a little tired. This witchcraft only seals 60% of my cultivation. It's nothing to worry about. Being sealed with 60% of his cultivation and still making it all the way back from the Crossing Heaven River to Golden Court Mountain showed how strong Ming Xiyin's perseverance and survival abilities were. Sometimes Lu Zhao wondered, did the Heavenly Tao really choose disciples based on just those 2 lines of poetry? Everyone has such extraordinary talent and fits the poem so well, it's too much of a coincidence. Pan Zhang bowed and said, it is witchcraft, we must dispel it quickly. Otherwise, as the witchcraft grows stronger, the cultivation will completely disappear. Then it will be even harder to dispel it. Ming Shiyin was startled when he heard Pan Zhang's words and glared at him. Pan Zhang, don't talk nonsense. Lu Zhao raised his hand to stop Ming Shiyin and signaled for Pan Zhang to continue. Understanding, Pan Zhang continued. I'm really not talking nonsense. When I was learning my skills at the Pure Bright sect, I saw some materials related to witchcraft in the library. Witchcraft is divided into white witchcraft and black witchcraft. If someone with malicious intentions uses witchcraft, they will completely lose their way. Back then, when I was young and arrogant, I was momentarily possessed and wanted to find information about witchcraft to quickly improve my cultivation. Unfortunately, everyone in the Pure Bright sect kept this a secret. No senior was willing to teach me witchcraft. So you chose to learn the 3 yin formula? Zhu Jifeng asked suspiciously. The Pure Bright sect elder only told me that the 3 yin formula was very suitable for my cultivation. But he didn't say that it needed to be combined with the 6 yang art. I only learned about the harmony of yin and yang after meeting Senior Ji, Pan Zhang replied. Then what? Zhu Jifeng asked. Pan Zhang continued. Witchcraft is like a cultivation mark. It will slowly seep into the cultivator's meridians, constantly eroding and covering the 8 extraordinary meridians. The sealing technique of the Pure Bright sect is also based on witchcraft. Everyone nodded. No wonder Pan Zhang was confident enough to suggest sealing the Black Knight's cultivation. It turned out his confidence came from this. Therefore, the sooner you dispel the witchcraft, the better for 4th Senior. 5th Senior was completely sealed by witchcraft, probably because the caster was standing at close range, so the witchcraft took effect immediately. At that point, dispelling it sooner or later makes no difference, Pan Zhang said. Zhu Jifeng asked again. You understand witchcraft so well. Do you know how to dispel it? Pan Zhang nodded. I remember that one book mentioned how to dispel it. First, and the most reliable way, is for the caster to dispel it themselves. The second way is for the cultivator to enter a meditative or Taoist trance until their cultivation surpasses the caster and they can break free. But that's impossible, right? How can you cultivate when your cultivation is sealed? So, are you saying the witchcraft on 4th child can't be undone? Pan Zhang shook his head, cupping his fist towards Lu Zhao. I'm afraid only the Pavilion Master can break this seal. Pavilion Master, Zhao Yanshare, and Zhu Jifeng both looked at Lu Zhao. The third way is for another cultivator with far greater power than the caster to forcibly separate the witchcraft. But the clash between witchcraft and primal chi would sever the meridians and cause the body to explode. So only the Pavilion Master can do it. Sounds legit. Lu Zhao felt a bit of pressure building up inside. Outwardly he remained as steady as a rock, but inwardly he was thinking, what the heck am I gonna do? Everyone's staring at him. Ming Xinyin immediately kowtowed, saying, please master, undo this restriction for your disciple. Lu Zhao stroked his beard, wondering how to handle this. If Yulong village and the Dutian River had witchcraft traps, then the others in the Evil Sky Pavilion couldn't go there carelessly. Even Ming Xinyin got hit, so the others wouldn't stand a chance. He would have to investigate the Yulong village matter himself. But as for breaking the witchcraft restriction, Lu Zhao had no freaking clue how. He couldn't exactly tell them he was only a nascent spirit realm cultivator. Duan Musheng, hearing the commotion, rushed over. After understanding the situation, he quickly pleaded, Master, this junior brother of mine may make mistakes, but he's been behaving lately. Please, Master, make a move. Zhu Jifeng and Pan Zhang also chimed in, begging for help. If this were the old days, Ji Tiandao would have blown his top, kicking everyone out into the yard. But Ming Xinyin's recent performance had been pretty good. His loyalty wasn't as solid as Duan Musheng's or Zhao Yanchair's, but he was reliable when working, and could be slowly taught later. Lu Zhao pondered for a moment, then waved his sleeve, saying, Follow me inside. Ming Xinyin was overjoyed, quickly getting up and obediently following behind Lu Zhao like a little kid. The others also breathed a sigh of relief, watching as Ming Xinyin followed Lu Zhao into the secret chamber. With Master taking action, any witchcraft is just a trivial matter, Xiao Yanhair said with a laugh. Zhu Jifeng nodded. That's right, the Pavilion Master's cultivation is incredibly profound. Of course, he wouldn't even bat an eye at such petty witchcraft. Pan Zhang also nodded in agreement, though he didn't say anything. Duan Musheng glanced at the two, then suddenly said, If fourth child is hit with witchcraft, then you two will have to do for now. What do you mean? Third senior brother Pan Zhang and Zhu Jifeng asked, bewildered. The Overlord's spear in Duan Musheng's hand swung up. He excitedly said, Let's have a spar, Pan Zhang, Zhu Jifeng. Inside the secret chamber? This was Ming Xinyin's first time inside. Not just Ming Xiyin, but none of the other disciples had even been allowed near. They all thought that their old master must keep all his good stuff in here. The secret chamber was always sealed tight, with not a crack to be seen. Master usually cultivated in there, so they never had a chance to see what was inside. So today, being allowed inside, Ming Xiyin was naturally excited, his eyes darting around. He saw various secret manuals arranged on the table, weapon racks against the wall with all sorts of blades, spears, staves, and clubs, even weapons piled up in the corners. He couldn't help but admire. Master has been around for a millennium. He's really collected some good stuff. Sit down. Lu Jiao pointed to the ground. Ming Xiyin snapped back to reality. Quickly sitting cross-legged, not daring to look around anymore, Lu Jiao stroked his beard and walked behind him. 8 Meridian Nascent Spirit Realm Cultivation. Not yet with the true power of the 8 Meridian Law Body, only the 4 symbols roaming. But checking the body's condition wasn't difficult, but wanting to break the witchcraft was a pipe dream. Lu Jiao noticed Ming Xiyin sweating a lot, clearly due to the witchcraft's restrictive power acting up. It seemed the witchcraft had sealed 80% of his cultivation. Lu Jiao raised his aged hand and gently pushed it against Ming Xiyin's back. Primal chi from his hand entered Ming Xiyin's meridians. Ming Xiyin was startled. The old master's cultivation was truly profound, able to suppress nascent spirit realm primal chi to be so gentle so as not to damage the meridians. Lu Jiao controlled the primal chi to examine the meridians, then lightly patted a few times. Poof, poof, poof. The primal chi gradually increased. Ming Xiyin was a cultivator who had long opened his 8 meridians. A little bit of primal chi moving around his meridians wouldn't cause any damage, but as soon as Lu Jiao's primal chi touched the witchcraft restriction, a force of resistance slammed back at him. Ming Xiyin raised an eyebrow, his forehead instantly drenched in sweat. Lu Jiao's primal chi sensed the witchcraft restriction. He knew this was the power of witchcraft. Lu Jiao wanted to avoid the witchcraft restriction to check another meridian, but as his primal chi tried to go around it, the witchcraft restriction suddenly attacked him as if it had a mind of its own. Could it be? Lu Jiao withdrew his hand, but the power of the witchcraft shot out of Ming Xiyin's body like strong chi, attacking Lu Jiao. Lu Jiao instinctively waved his sleeve. The state of understanding from comprehending the heavenly book appeared. A blue light covered his dantian, chi si, to the 8 extraordinary meridians and brain. Ju. The faint blue light pushed back the witchcraft's power without stopping. It continued to slam into Ming Xiyin. Boom! Ming Xiyin's entire body was sent flying forward by the force of the collision. At the same time, Ming Xiyin felt the bizarre witchcraft force in his body disintegrate in an instant. 1 second ago, Ming Xiyin was lamenting how fierce Master was. The next, the witchcraft restriction in his body had been shattered. He was overjoyed. Even being sent flying was worth it. Clatter! Ming Xiyin knocked over 2 weapon racks, the weapons on the racks falling to the ground with a clatter. At the same time, in a dark room in the Great Yan Imperial Palace, the light from a dim candle in the middle of the room was blocked by a screen. Piffed. Behind the screen, a woman in brocade clothing was sitting cross-legged, circulating her energy. Suddenly, her face changed slightly, and she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. She angrily gasped for breath, flicked her sleeve, sending everything on the table to the ground. Her face panicked as she murmured, "Someone broke my witchcraft. Who is it?" After Ming Xiyin was sent flying by Lu Jiao's sleeve wave, Lu Jiao was also surprised. That refreshing, pleasant feeling from comprehending the heavenly book had appeared again, indeed bringing forth extraordinary power. But unfortunately, Lu Jiao hadn't found a way to control and use this power yet. But now wasn't the time to think about that. Lu Jiao's gaze turned to Ming Xiyin. After Ming Xiyin crashed into the weapon racks, the witchcraft restrictions in his body had all been shattered. His cultivation, originally suppressed by the witchcraft, had recovered. In an instant, primal chi surged again in his dantian and chi si, the pain in his body disappearing without a trace. Ming Xiyin stood up and knelt down, saying, "Thank you, Master, for breaking the restriction for your disciple. Master is divinely powerful and unparalleled." Lu Jiao gave him a cold look. The extraordinary power of the heavenly book was indeed not simple. Unexpectedly able to counteract witchcraft. Just as Lu Jiao was thinking about how to take a step further in the process of comprehending the heavenly book, Ming Xiyin was already being drawn in by the pile of weapons beside him. He picked up the 2 items, examining them thoroughly. "Master, what are these?" "The first one is a sword, but not quite. Also a hook, but not quite. The blade is sharp, only on one side, and covered in bizarre jagged teeth. The other one looked like its scabbard." Lu Jiao glanced at the 2 items. Weapon retrieval. Lie by hook. Suggested owner. Ming Xiyin. Lu Jiao stroked his beard. His secret chamber truly holds the secrets of the universe. Whether by fate or not, Ming Xiyin actually picked up this weapon. Before Lu Jiao could say anything, Ming Xiyin clapped his thigh and said, "Master, this weapon is perfect for me, from its shape to the blade, and even this scabbard. Hee, I just love these weird, bizarre toys. This weapon is at least Earth grade. Lai Bi hook." Ming Xiyin pointed to the tiny inscription on the hook's sheath, excitedly muttering, if he hadn't tested it yet, just judging by appearance, this weapon would indeed only be Earth grade. The Li Bai hook seemed to have been in the secret chamber for a very long time, its appearance quite ancient. However, the system suggested a target owner, so after activation it would be a heaven-grade weapon. Seeing Ming Xiyin express particular affection for the Li Bai hook, his face full of flattery, Lu Jiao shook his head slightly and set it down. "Ah, Ming Shiyin first touched it, then carefully and cautiously placed the Libi hook on the ground. He wouldn't dare disobey his master. You've only just entered the nascent soul realm. Your cultivation is not yet stable enough to control a heaven-grade weapon. Lu Zhao casually made up an excuse. Ming Shiyin, hearing this, was not angry at all, but rather extremely happy. This means master will eventually bestow the Libi hook upon him. Disciple obeys. Disciple will definitely stabilize his strength quickly, Ming Shiyin said. Lu Zhao stroked his beard, nodded, and waved his hand. Ming Shiyin understood, and left the secret chamber. As he walked to the door of the secret chamber, he turned his head to look at the Libi hook again, his eyes full of reluctance. The items in the secret chamber were too messy. Fortunately, the room was large enough, so even with many items scattered around, it didn't affect Lu Zhu. Lu Zhu waved his hand, and the Libi hook was immediately retrieved into his hand. Not long after, Lu Zhao stepped out of the secret chamber and entered the main hall. Duan Musheng and the others were no longer there. Ming Shiyin was rambling on about something to Xiao Yanhe, whose face was full of admiration, nodding repeatedly. Lu Zhao walked over, and the two of them, upon seeing him, hurriedly bowed and paid their respects. Master, Ming Shiyin, your Tuyu art has been resolved. But you must not be careless, disciple understands, master. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. During this time, he hadn't planned to leave Golden Court Mountain after all. With his current cultivation, staying at the Evil Sky Pavilion, and finding ways to harvest merit points from his disciples to increase his strength, was the most stable approach. However, the truth of the matter at Yuling Village had reached a critical point, and it was closely related to the Gu's witchcraft experts. If he could find out the truth, he would catch the person who sealed Zhao Yu's cultivation. More importantly for Lu Zhao, the system's task interface clearly displayed: investigate the truth of Yuling Village. Reward, 3,000 merit points. A whole 3,000 merit points. This was the highest task reward the system had ever offered, which showed the importance of the matter. Early tomorrow morning, I will personally make a trip to Yuling Village, Lu Zhou said. Xiao Yanhe, hearing that she could go out, immediately clapped her hands excitedly. Master, I want to go too, I want to go too. Ming Shiyin was stunned at first, then he realized, with master taking action, everything will definitely be resolved smoothly. The witchcraft restriction on his body had just been lifted, so his confidence in his master was even higher than in himself. Lu Zhu, keep an eye on Black Knight. Disciple obeys. Ming Shiyin bowed and said, with disciple and third senior brother here, it will be difficult for them to escape even with wings. Lu Zhao turned to leave, took 2 steps, then stopped and asked, have there been any news of those traitors recently? Traitors, meaning first disciple Yu Zhenghai and second disciple Yu Shengrong. Ming Shiyin shook his head repeatedly. Recently, disciple hasn't left Golden Court Mountain at all, and knows nothing about external news. Lu Zhao stroked his chin slightly. Ever since he defeated the righteous sects twice in a row, these traitors had become much more well-behaved. After resolving the matters of Yuling Village, he had to think of a way to deal with these traitors. After entrusting these matters, Lu Zhao returned to the Evil Sky Pavilion, and once again entered a state of comprehension of the heavenly writing. After using the power of the heavenly writing to restrain witchcraft, Lu Zhu had a better understanding of comprehending the heavenly writing. He opened the heavenly writing interface, and the content of the human scroll of the heavenly writing shone brightly, appearing before his eyes. This time, the incomprehensible words suddenly became full of life, making him feel much more comfortable than before. Movement originates from stillness. 10,000 paths converge. Life originates from 10, originating from thought. Wondrous actions originate from this. Lu Zhao read aloud, suddenly stopping. Damn, law sounds are ineffective against me, but they can restrain witchcraft. Could it be that the human scroll has the effect of restraining cultivation methods that bewilder people's minds? He continued reading below, and sure enough, new content appeared. To obtain wisdom and reason, one can travel in all directions. To feel every inch of land without changing one's original intention. It is very useful to destroy wisdom and reason. One can flaunt one's body while entering samadhi, such as emitting a halo of light. Then samadhi will no longer be pure. Note, samadhi is a term used in Taoism, referring to an important cultivation method, where the mind must be pure, abandoning all worldly thoughts. Lu Zhao was immersed in it, unable to restrain himself. The next morning, full of energy, Lu Zhao closed the heavenly writing interface and left the secret chamber. Xiao Yanhe had been sitting in the main hall waiting for a long time, her face full of excitement because she was about to go out to play. Seeing her master come out, she ran over and said, Master, Master, I want to ride the Baizie. I don't want to sit on Bian. Lu Zhao shook his head. You little brat. He originally wanted to teach her a lesson, but thinking about her small request, which he could fulfill, he gave up. After all, I'm an old man who can't stand the long, bumpy road. The two of them stepped out of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Xiao Yanhe smiled at Ming Shiyin, who was waiting outside the hall. From the forest on Golden Court Mountain, Bai Zi came treading on the clouds. Seeing the appearance of the legendary mount, Ming Shiyin was so envious that he wanted to lose his eyeballs. When will he have such a mount? Even if he were beaten and scolded by Master every day, it would be worth it. Master, I want to sit in front. Xiao Yanhe mischievously pointed towards Bai Zi. Lu Zhao said nothing. Bai Zhen's back was very wide. Sitting in front would give a more comprehensive view. It flew extremely stably, making it very suitable for enjoying the scenery of green mountains and clear waters. After the two of them were seated firmly on Bai Zhen's back, he let out a soft cry, stepped into the air, and disappeared into the horizon. Ming Xinyin chased after it for a while, looking at it. No longer able to see Bai Zai's figure when Bai Zai was flying, Lu Zhao checked the system panel. He had 22,000 merit points left. He didn't choose to buy any more item cards because he could choose the appropriate type of card at any time when needed. For example, if he encountered an unsolvable danger, he could choose to buy a damage immunity card and then ride Bai Zine away from there. An hour later, Bai Zai began to slow down, gradually descending. Master, have we arrived? Zhao Yan'er hadn't had enough fun yet and didn't want to get down. Lu Zhao ignored her and controlled Bai Zine to land on the ground. Zhao Yan'er had no choice but to jump off Bai Zi's back. After retrieving Bai Zi, Lu Zhao looked at the surrounding scenery and said, "This place is not far from the Crossing Heaven River. Bai Zi is too dazzling and will attract attention. Master is so powerful you can just kill them all." Zhao Yan'er scratched her head and said doubtfully, "Too much talk," Lu Zhao calmly taught her. "What Master says is what it is." As they were taking a break, Zhao Yan'er suddenly piped up, "Master, someone's approaching. It's finally my time to shine." Several cultivators controlled their flying swords, zipping through the mountain forest. "Ji Tiandao's chasing us. Run! The fiends from the evil sky pavilion are here. Get out of the way, Oog!" One righteous cultivator after another flew right over Lu Zhao and Zhao Yan'er. One powerful 8 Meridians Ocean Divinity cultivator even flew low, giving them a heads up as he passed by. "Old man, you better hurry up and scram. That old devil Ji Tiandao is coming. Do you have a death wish?" Whoosh! The cultivators were flying so fast they disappeared into the mountains in a flash. Zhao Yan'er pouted, looking doubtful. "Master, are you chasing them?" Lu Zhao's expression remained indifferent. Why would this old man do something so boring? They're just small fries. Lu Zhao stroked his beard, quickly dismissing the whole thing. Once they were far away and things got quiet again, Zhao Yan'er said, "Master, should we chase after them and kill them all?" "Why?" Lu Zhao asked. "They were cursing people and framing you. We should chase them down and wipe them out. We can't let them get away with this slander," Zhao Yan'er insisted. "The logic of this little devil is something else, huh?" Lu Zhao shook his head dismissively and said, "The one they're cursing is someone else entirely. Who is it?" Right at that moment, heavy footsteps thudded, shaking the ground slightly. Vague silhouettes appeared at the edge of the forest. The two of them looked towards the noise and saw a group approaching at a steady pace. An epic mount. Mounts are way more precious than flying carriages. Coming out of the forest was a huge mount, its body like a city wall, and legs as thick as pillars. This was an epic mount known as the Elephant King, boasting incredible survivability, extremely high defense, and the ability to traverse all kinds of terrain, from rugged mountain paths to rushing rivers. Its only weakness was that it couldn't fly. On the Elephant King's back was a massive carriage, like a giant palanquin, simple yet luxurious. "Elephant King," Zhao Yan'er murmured. Flanking the Elephant King were 3 cultivators, 2 men and 1 woman, flying alongside. Their speed wasn't fast, but it wasn't slow either. Each step of the Elephant King covered several meters, and every footfall was a heavy thud. Lu Zhao waved his hand, signaling Zhao Yan'er to leave with him. "Let's not cross their path." "Okay." Zhao Yan'er obediently followed her master towards Yulong village. However, after just a few steps, the young girl hovering beside the Elephant King suddenly flew over on her sword, stopping in front of Lu Zhao and Zhao Yan'er. "Hey!" The girl stood on her flying sword and shouted aggressively. Zhao Yan'er, seeing someone her own age daring to block their path, snapped, "Hey, what? Get out of the way." Lu Zhao calmly stroked his beard, his gaze fixed on the girl. A divine court cultivator. Not bad talent, but she's still far behind Zhao Yan'er. Completely not worth wasting an item card on these boring cultivators. The girl, one hand on her hip and the other pointing at Zhao Yan'er, introduced herself. "I am the 9th disciple of the Evil Sky Pavilion, Zhu Yan'er. I'm asking you, did you see 10 cultivators running in which direction?" "She dares to impersonate me." Zhao Yan'er immediately blew a fuse, not even caring about the girl's question. She couldn't hold back any longer. Zhao Yan'er stomped on the ground and shot forward like an arrow towards the girl. Bam, bam, bam. The two of them clashed. In terms of movement techniques, Zhao Yan'er's Jade Pool Qinggong is unparalleled. The imposter never expected Zhao Yan'er to attack so suddenly. Caught off guard, she stumbled backwards. Bam, bam, bam! Zhao Yan'er attacked with both fists and feet, her movements as fast as lightning, making the girl see stars. This little girl's temperament is still so fiery. Lu Zhao glanced at the Elephant King. But the people didn't seem to be doing anything. On the surface, Lu Zhao didn't show any emotions, but he was constantly watching the person on the Elephant King's back. The cultivator fighting Zhao Yan'er was a divine court cultivator. Even if everyone charged at once, Zhao Yan'er could still handle them. But the one on the Elephant King's back had at least a nascent soul cultivation base. If he made a move, Zhao Yan'er wouldn't stand a chance. But it seemed like he had no intention of interfering, and even seemed to be watching the fight with great interest. That person's attention seemed to be on Zhao Yan'er. Just as Lu Zhao was calculating, Zhao Yan'er unleashed a powerful rising kick, smack, 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 sending the young girl crashing to the ground. The fake girl landed hard, tumbling several times, looking a mess. Just as the fake girl was unwilling to get up and fight again, "Fall back." A slow and deep voice came from the Elephant King's carriage. Lu Zhu looked towards the source of the voice. From the carriage on the Elephant King's back, an old man with white hair stepped out, his eyes deep and wrinkles covering his face. He looked a lot like Ji Tiandao when Lu Zhao first transmigrated over. 80%, at least. The only difference was that after using the reversal card, Lu Zhao had changed, looking completely different from this old man. Name, Ding Fanqi. Race, human. Realm, nascent soul realm. Ding Fanqi put his hands behind his back, his eyes showing admiration as he looked at Xiao Yanhe, then shifted his gaze to Lu Zhao and asked, "Aren't you afraid of this, Siat?" Lu Zhao coldly replied, "Why should I be?" Ding Fanqi pointed at Xiao Yanhe. "This seat is in a good mood today. Under normal circumstances, I would have punished you for your rudeness." Xiao Yanhe couldn't help but laugh. She landed on the ground next to Lu Zhu, then pointed at Ding Fanqi standing on the Elephant King's back, and shouted loudly, "Old man, do you know who's standing in front of you?" Her eyes were fierce, implying that, "You dare to impersonate my master. See if my master doesn't beat you to death." Before Lu Zhao could speak, Ding Fanqi once again scrutinized Xiao Yanhe, his eyes showing the excitement of seeing prey, but on the surface he calmly said, "Little girl, your talent is not bad. Reaching the Divine Court realm, the Daoyo comprehension stage, at this age is truly rare." Xiao Yanhe stood next to Lu Zhao and stuck her tongue out, mocking the girl she had just defeated. Lu Zhao's expression was indifferent, and he didn't reply. Ding Fanqi wasn't angry, he just coldly stared at Lu Zhao. "Surely, old cultivator, you've heard of this Siat's reputation." Lu Zhao casually stroked his beard. "This old man has been in the deep mountains for a long time and doesn't know much." The people next to him looked angry. Ding Fanqi waved his hand. "No need to rush. This seat will slowly tell you." He slowly leaned over and waved his sleeve. "Please, both of you, come up to the carriage." His tone was calm, but one could hear the threat in his words. The disciples next to Ding Fanqi were a little surprised. They didn't understand why he was doing this. But they still flew towards Lu Zhu. Lu Zhao secretly wondered, "This place is very close to the Crossing Heaven River. What are they doing here? This Ding Fanqi is in the nascent soul realm and dares to impersonate this old man. Isn't he afraid of being punished by the righteous sects?" "This matter is not simple," Lu Zhao asked. "You want to go to the Crossing Heaven River?" As Lu Zhao spoke these words, a card with a faint glow appeared in his palm. The people around him didn't see it or sense any aura. Ding Fanqi remained still in his inviting pose. Little did he know, this time, he was standing at the very gates of hell. This old one indeed intends to go to the vicinity of the Dutian River. "The Elephant King understands how to travel. Please get on." The two subordinates also made inviting gestures. "In that case, this old man won't stand on ceremony," Ding Fanqi asked. "Is old Mr. also going to the vicinity of the Dutian River?" Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. "It seems you're quite concerned about matters regarding the Dutian River." Ding Fanqi revealed a melancholy smile, then quickly returned to a calm, even somewhat cold expression. He flicked his sleeve, and the Elephant King obeyed, lowering its front legs, making the carriage on its back lower for easier climbing. Ding Fanqi's two subordinates noticed Lu Zhao still addressed him as you, showing zero respect. They were pissed but couldn't do anything. Ding Fanqi stood aside with his hands clasped behind his back, ignoring Lu Zhao's attitude, only focused on observing Xiao Yanhe. Lu Zhao calmly stroked his beard, looked around, then lightly jumped onto the carriage on the Elephant King's back. Xiao Yanhe was a bit reluctant at first, but seeing her master jump on, she wasn't worried anymore, and also climbed onto the Elephant King's back. With her master here, would this people dare to revolt? The carriage inside was spacious. Lu Zhao and Xiao Yanhe sat on one side, observing the mountains and forests. Ding Fanqi's eyes gleamed. He sat upright on the other side, gave a command, and the Elephant King mount started walking. Each footstep shook the ground, rocking the mountains and forests. The speed was decent. Lu Zhao was satisfied. He nodded and said, "Taming an Elephant King isn't an easy feat," Ding Fanqi said indifferently. "It's just an Elephant King, nothing worth mentioning. At the back of Jinting Mountain, this old one has 10 other kinds of mounts." Xiao Yanhe rolled her eyes. "Liar, keep lying." Seeing the little girl didn't believe him, Ding Fanqi still smiled and opened his mouth to speak. "Little brat, you don't believe me," Xiao Yanhe replied. "I only admire my master grandpa." Ding Fanqi looked at Xiao Yanhe seriously, then looked at the female subordinate flying outside the carriage, and shook his head slightly. Lu Zhu maintained a calm expression from beginning to end, constantly stroking his beard. The Elephant King walked for a while. "Master, there are 2 cultivators ahead who escaped earlier." "Kill," Ding Fanqi said indifferently. "Yes." The two flew out, and not long after, the sound of fighting came from the forest. Then after a while, the 2 disciples returned, as if nothing had happened. Ding Fanqi said, "Old mister, don't be alarmed. This old one does many evil deeds. But I'm also a person who distinguishes right from wrong." Lu Zhao nodded and said, "This old man is also a person who distinguishes right from wrong." Ding Fanqi laughed. Unexpectedly, old mister's temperament suits this old one. At this time, the Elephant King suddenly stopped. Ahead was the Dutian River. Ding Fanqi pointed ahead and leaped down from the Elephant King. Since Lu Zhao comprehended the heavenly scroll, he had become much more sensitive to various auras. When Ding Fanqi jumped down, he revealed an extraordinary aura, clearly intentionally showing off. Xiao Yanhe also sensed this aura, and she huddled closer, grabbing Lu Zhao's arm. Lu Zhao remained unmoved, slowly stood up. "Please, both of you." Lu Zhao and Xiao Yanhe lightly jumped to the ground. Ding Fanqi clasped his hands and said, "Little girl, how many years have you cultivated?" "More than 5 years." Mentioning this, Xiao Yanhe revealed a proud expression. 5 years into the Divine Court realm. Surprise flashed across his face, but he quickly regained his composure, pointing to the girl beside him. Her talent isn't bad either, but it's far behind you. Lu Zhao indifferently stroked his beard and looked at the sky. Zhao Yanhair kept rolling her eyes. How could this cheap imitation be compared to her? She turned to look at the two cultivators standing beside her, blinked and asked, "Are you both divine court realm?" The two of them looked arrogant. "So weak," Zhao Yanhair muttered. "Little brat, if it weren't for my master, someone who disrespects the great mystery sect like you would have been torn to shreds long ago." "Liar, liar, pants on fire. Who's tearing who? We'll see." Zhao Yanhair continued to bicker with the fakes. Ivy. Lu Zhao shook his head, looking at Ding Fanqi. "This old man's granddaughter has always been undisciplined. It's fine." The group continued to move forward, then stopped at a relatively high mound. "Crossing the ditch in front of us is the Dutian River." Lu Zhao stroked his beard and looked into the distance. "Unfortunately, the scene remains. But the people are gone. Yulong village has long ceased to exist. In his memory, this place had many residents and fishermen. Unexpectedly, it had turned into a desolate small ditch today. The truth of Yulong village was probably in the hands of the officials stationed to retrieve the corpses." While he was still thinking, Ding Fanqi stood with his hands clasped behind his back, saying with great magnanimity, "Back then, this old one rampaged at the Dutian River, fighting with many experts for 3 days and 3 nights. The appearance of the Dharma body turned this place into a small ditch," Lu Zhao said suspiciously. "This was all caused by you. It was this old one. The massacre of Yulong village on the banks of the Dutian River was recorded in the case file as led by Ji Tiandao, a branch master of the Azure Dragon Society, in front of the disciple. Go chase him down." Ding Fanqi waved his hand. "Go, go." The subordinate flew away, disappearing in an instant. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and said, "Azure Dragon Society." He remembered that when he went to Anyang City last time, he had encountered a branch of the Azure Dragon Society. Unexpectedly, the Dutian River also had Azure Dragon Society forces distributed so widely. How strong was their backer, the Underworld Sect? Ding Fanqi said proudly. "The backer behind the Azure Dragon Society is the Underworld Sect. The sect leader of the Underworld Sect, Yu Zhanghai, is this old one's former great disciple." Lu Zhu nodded in his heart. Although the Azure Dragon Society were all small fries, it was still better to let these people clean up obstacles. His item cards were very valuable. The more he could save, the better. "This old one has arrived. The Azure Dragon Society will naturally collapse," Ding Fanqi said confidently. Not long after, the disciple flew back, bowed, and said, "Master, as you expected, the people of the Azure Dragon Society were all scared away as soon as they heard the news of your arrival." "Very good." He waved his hand, signaling everyone to continue moving forward. At the same time, at the headquarters of the Crouching Dragon Dark Web, reporting to sect leader, "News from the Dutian River has detected traces of old senior Ji." Si Wuyai opened his eyes, slowly stood up, and said indifferently, "The Underworld Sect has accurate information about this matter. No need to pay attention to it. Those who impersonate the Great Mystery Sect will be severely punished. They are fake." "Yes." The subordinate was slightly surprised. "Remember to keep a close eye on every move the Demon Heaven Pavilion makes. Also, where is the current sect leader of the demon-killing sect?" Si Wuyai asked. "Reporting, Master. Ren Buping has arrived at the Azure Jade platform and is being secretly supported by Zhang Yuanshan, the sect leader of the Righteous Unity sect." Hearing this news, Si Wuyai chuckled. He he he. His laughter was both gentle and deep. "The righteous sect colluding with the demonic path to do evil deeds. What a joke for the world to laugh at." "Reporting, Maester. This subordinate has more to report." "Speak." Black Knight leader Fan Xuan went to the Demon Heaven Pavilion. His fate is currently unknown. Sword Devil Senior didn't want to wait any longer for Fan Xuan, and is now also missing. This subordinate doesn't dare to follow Sword Devil Senior. Second senior brother is always humble and courteous to everyone. You don't need to be so afraid, Si Wuyai said slowly. This subordinate understands. He said he understood, but his heart was still trembling. What the master said sounded very untrustworthy. "Master, there's been a lot of activity near the Crossing Heaven River lately. Do we really not need to care?" Si Wuyai was about to wave his hand dismissively, but to prevent any accidents, he pondered for a moment and said in a deep voice, "Since that's the case, keep an eye on it. As for the people in Kwa Zhengai's group, let them clean up their own mess." "Master is wise. This subordinate will go and do it right away." At Crossing Heaven River, Lu Zhao's group slowly arrived at a dilapidated walled courtyard. Two of Ding Fanqi's disciples created a gust of wind, pushing open the courtyard door, and the group stepped inside. "Master, this is the agreed-upon place. Since I came here myself today, they wouldn't dare to be impolite." Ding Fanqi nodded, and two disciples hurriedly found a chair and placed it in the middle of the courtyard. Zhao Yan'er saw this and said, "Grandpa, let me go find one right away." As soon as Zhao Yan'er left, Ding Fanqi said indifferently, "Do you know why I'm not making things difficult for you?" "Oh." Lu Zhao stroked his beard. Saying nothing, Ding Fanqi said calmly, "If I did that, that little girl would hold a grudge against me." He's clearly trying to get his hands on Zhao Yan'er. From their conversation, Lu Zhao knew there was something fishy going on, so he remained silent. Ding Fanqi glanced indifferently at Lu Zhao, then looked away. The disciples thought Lu Zhao was scared, and shook their heads. Zhao Yan'er found a chair, wiped it clean, and placed it behind Lu Zhao. Before they could sit for long, footsteps came from outside, seemingly more than one person. "They're here!" The courtyard door opened, and several soldiers entered, 2 soldiers carrying each coffin, about 5 or 6 in total. A strange smell came from the coffins, a foul odor. After carefully placing the coffins down, the leading soldier clasped his hands and said, These are the ones we just fished out. This is all we have. There's an order from the palace. The retrieved corpses can't be taken away casually, so starting tomorrow, our transactions are over. It's too late to say you want to end it now. Ding Fangqiu waved his hand. You dare. There's nothing the Demon Heaven Pavilion doesn't dare to do. The 3 disciples behind him immediately drew their swords and charged at the soldiers. Lu Zhao calmly retreated. 3 godly detachment realm cultivators were like wolves among sheep, swordlight flashing dazzlingly, as soldiers fell to the ground one after another. In the end, no one survived. After killing them all, Ding Fangqi slowly stood up, clasped his hands behind his back, and looked at Lu Ju, who had remained calm. Old Mister is braver than most. I misjudged you. Lu Zhao stroked his beard, glancing at the corpses and the 5 or 6 coffins that had just been carried in. Xiao Yan'er asked, "What's in these?" Human bones. Xiao Yan'er was disgusted and stepped back. She wasn't afraid of dead people, but something fished out of the water and put in a closed coffin. How could she not be disgusted? Ding Fangqi walked closer to a coffin, gently waving his sleeve. A surge of qi shattered the coffin lid. Lu Zhao's gaze fell into the coffin. These bones were a bit strange, quite transparent like glass, not very refined, but a bit milky white like white jade. By Min, Lu Zhao searched his memories, instantly recognizing the origin of these bones. Most of the colors of bones are like this. It is clear that what is submerged in the water is the body of the crude Min fish dragon swallowing, which is the family member of Ye Tiangxin. Then, why did the people in the palace order them to fish for corpses under the river? Ding Fangqi's group searched carefully through all the coffins here, then shook their heads, seemingly not finding what they were looking for. These Bai Ming corpses are completely useless, Lu Zhao said indifferently. What are these bones for? Ding Fangqi's disciple said, Old Mister, some things are better left unsaid. Lu Zhao indifferently stroked his beard. You Demon Heaven Pavilion also know how to worry. The Demon Heaven Pavilion has always acted like this. Xiao Yan'er muttered to herself. It's like I don't know, you're too bad. The disciples immediately became unhappy. Ding Fangqi waved his hand to reprimand the 3 disciples. Enough. The 3 didn't dare argue with Xiao Yan'er. For some reason, Ding Fangqi always protected this little girl, Ding Fangqi said. Take down the command token. Yes. Seeing the command token, Lu Zhao indifferently stroked his beard and said, This old man also wants to go along to broaden his knowledge. Grandpa, I want to go too. I want to go too. Xiao Yan'er loved to play, and immediately said excitedly. Of course he had to bring Xiao Yan'er along. He still needed Xiao Yan'er to deal with those godly detachment realm cultivators. Ding Fangqi looked at Lu Zhao. There are many witchcraft traps where the corpses are being fished, aren't you afraid? Obviously, they weren't here for the first time, and seemed very familiar with everything here. Xiao Yan'er grabbed her small hand and said, There's nothing under this sky that my grandpa's afraid of. Ding Fangqi's gaze turned to Xiao Yan'er again, his eyes full of praise. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. It would be great if this old man had an accident, and no one could be blamed. After taking the command token from the soldiers' bodies, the 2 male disciples changed their clothes, and the group left the dilapidated walled courtyard, heading towards the pier. About a quarter of an hour later, they arrived at the pier where the soldiers were fishing for corpses. Besides a few boats used for fishing for corpses docked near the shore, there were no large cargo ships coming or going. There were some soldiers patrolling on the shore. Ding Fangqi was familiar with the place, walking very calmly, reaching the entrance. 2 soldiers with spears blocked the way. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed to enter this place. Ding Fangqi's disciple took out the command token and secretly slipped some money in. Once the money was slipped, everything went smoothly. If they were only fishing for corpses for a short period of time, it would be extremely difficult to bribe them. But these people had been doing it for 10 years straight, and even they didn't know what they were trying to fish for. What were they doing? Rocks, fish, shrimp, seaweed, everything was taken away. Doing it over and over again, everyone had become numb. Xiao Yan'er muttered. Why not just kill their way in instead of making it so complicated? The girl who had been defeated by Xiao Yan'er turned her head to look at her and said, There are very strong witchcraft traps here. Someone is controlling them. Xiao Yan'er first said, Oh. Then said, Still don't understand. The group walked very quickly, clearly not here for the first time. The warehouse is up ahead. The group avoided the soldiers guarding the area, walking around several buildings, and just as they were about to enter the warehouse, Ding Fangqi suddenly raised his hand to stop. His voice was low and powerful, as if he had discovered something. He bent down to look at the patterns on the ground. There are cultivators who practice witchcraft. Lu Zhao's eyes swept across the ground, taking in the traces. The ground here definitely shows signs of digging, and recently at that, someone has set up traps. Witchcraft utilizes the opportune moment and the advantages of location and harmony. The practitioner borrows external forces to attack or bless others. Ding Fangqi turned to Lu Zhao and said, Old man, you must take care of yourself. Then, turning to Xiao Yan'er, he said, Little girl, if you're scared, stick close to this seat. Xiao Yan'er clung to Lu Zhao's arm, saying, I'm not scared at all. Let's go. The group bypassed the trap and headed towards the large warehouse in front of them. How could a warehouse door withstand an attack from a cultivator? With a mere wave of the hand, the locked door burst open. The moment the warehouse door opened, Lu Zhao's brow furrowed. This warehouse stretches on for yards. It's a huge storage space, stacked high with coffins. On the other side of the coffins is a pile of bones, stacked like a small mountain. Some of these bones look like the ones he saw in that dilapidated courtyard, but the rest are just ordinary bones. Yulong village was massacred. Even if all 354 people from the village were here, they couldn't form a mountain of bones like this. And they'd been fishing bodies out for 10 years, not to mention the bodies that were swept away by the water. This bone pile is definitely more than just a few hundred people, and it's not just commoners. Ding Fangqi's expression was indifferent, as if he was used to seeing dead people. As soon as he entered the warehouse, he raised his hand to cover his nose and mouth, then ordered his disciples to search. Yes. 3 disciples leaped into the piles of coffins, beginning their search. Seeing this, Lu Jiao became even more suspicious. What are they looking for? Before he could ask, Ding Fangqi leaned over and said, "These are the bones of foreign races." Foreign races, Ding Fangqi casually said. How could the Great Yan Empire allow foreign races to reside within its borders? The Great Yan created an era of peace and prosperity, and for thousands of years, these foreign races have been restless. The crossing of the heaven-dividing river must have been stained with blood, Lu Jiao retorted. Are they all foreign races? Ding Fangqi glanced at Lu Jiao, letting out a low chuckle laced with sarcasm. Just an excuse used by the people in the palace. Zhao Yanhe poked her head out and asked, "What are you looking for?" Ding Fangqi replied, "A bone. A very special bone." Zhao Yanhe's curiosity was piqued. What's so special about it? Ding Fangqi didn't immediately answer Zhao Yanhe's question, but instead said, "Little girl, if you become this seat's disciple, this seat is willing to impart all my knowledge to you." Zhao Yanhe frowned, glaring at Ding Fangqi. There are countless people who want to join the Devil Sky Pavilion but don't get the chance. You need to understand that. Which one of this seat's 9 disciples isn't a famous powerhouse? Not her. Zhao Yanhe pointed to the girl opening the coffins in the distance. She looked young but was actually a grown-up cultivator with the face of a child. Ding Fangqi was speechless for a moment. Seeing that Ding Fangqi had revealed his true colors, Lu Jiao wasn't surprised. "I'm afraid you can't teach her." Ding Fangqi looked down on her, placing his hands behind his back. "There's no one in this world this seat can't teach." Lu Jiao was too lazy to argue with him. "The purpose of this old man's coming here is to investigate the truth behind the massacre of Yulong village." Ding Fangqi faked being this old man to show off. I won't hold it against him for the whole journey. Ding Fangqi also had some value to show. But what makes Lu Bijou suspicious is that Ding Fangqi only brought 3 disciples and was able to build relationships with people here and do business for a long time. So what is his purpose? Who is supporting him behind the scenes? After searching for a while, the 3 disciples returned, the entire warehouse in a chaotic mess. Most of the coffins in the warehouse had been overturned, and a foul smell filled the air. The female disciple said, "Master, we didn't find anything." The other 2 disciples also shook their heads. Ding Fangqi frowned and said indifferently, "Are there any other warehouses?" The 3 disciples shook their heads again. "This warehouse is already very large, and it contains so many bones that there is still a lot of empty space." Lu Jiao raised his head to look at the sun. It was already late afternoon. He looked at the system's mission interface. Just as the group was about to leave the warehouse, hurried footsteps came from outside. Definitely not from just one person. Ambush. Ding Fangqi didn't even bother to look, just coldly said, "Kill, yes." The 3 disciples rushed out of the warehouse, starting a massacre. The newcomers were a group of soldiers. How could they be a match for cultivators? Lu Jiao remembered that when Ming Shiyin came here to investigate, he encountered witchcraft traps. A place this important shouldn't have such weak defenses. "This old man is very curious," Lu Jiao suddenly spoke. "Humph, that special bone. What exactly is it?" Lu Jiao asked. Ding Fangqi placed his hands behind his back and said, "Old man, this seat has repeatedly warned you. The more you know, the more danger you're in. This old man is old and has long seen through life and death." Lu Jiao calmly stroked his beard. His words were true. He had died once when he transmigrated, and the troubles before him were nothing compared to when the 10 great experts besieged Golden Court Mountain. Ding Fangqi shook his head. The sounds of fighting outside grew more intense, and the numbers were increasing. Soon after, cultivators appeared in the sky from all directions, with more and more appearing. A sound wave spread throughout the dock. "You've fallen into our trap. Anyone who dares to break into the forbidden area must die." The sound wave wasn't too strong, but it was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears, seemingly making the situation even more complicated. Lu Jiao wasn't worried about these things. If he wanted to leave, the forces before him couldn't stop him. Ding Fangqi glanced at Lu Jiao and then stepped outside. Outside the warehouse, rows of soldiers holding spears stood before them, blocking their departure. Above the soldiers were many cultivators hovering in the air. The 3 disciples, after killing the soldiers in front of the warehouse, returned to stand beside Ding Fangqi. "We're surrounded. This is a trap." Ding Fangqi placed his hands behind his back, seemingly not worried about the current situation. He was a nascent soul powerhouse. How could he fear this kind of situation? No matter how many soldiers there were, they couldn't stop a nascent soul cultivator from flying away. Ding Fangqi looked towards the cultivators floating in the air. Qi condensation, foundation establishment, and a few nascent soul. "You dare to call this a trap, little girl? Open your eyes and watch carefully." Ding Fangqi didn't turn his head. These words were clearly directed at Xiao Yan'er. Lu Jiao continued to stroke his beard, seemingly not caring. At the same time, Ding Fangqi's aura gradually surged. He took a step away from the warehouse. Whoosh! A 5 zang tall avatar stood tall in the sky, radiating a faint blue light that threatened the people below. Surging true energy surrounded him, and the golden lotus beneath his feet was opening petal by petal, opening a total of 4 petals. The soldiers blocking the dock and the cultivators, upon seeing this avatar, all had drastic changes in expression, simultaneously taking several steps back. But they weren't scared into running away. Instead, they looked tense, as if facing a great enemy, and retreated cautiously. Zhao Yan'er muttered, "Only 4 petals." The girl standing beside her glanced at her. "What do you even know? My master's power is unmatched. This is called concealing strength. Got it. 4 leaves are enough to deal with these guys. They only have divine court realm dharmic bodies, the highest being the 10 directions Qian Kun, with 100 tribulation. Knowing divinity cultivator here, they'll all be flat on the ground." While they were talking, Ding Fengqi's 4-leaf dharmic body scattered powerful gang qi. Clatter, clatter. The surrounding buildings near the dock trembled non-stop, making clattering sounds. The group of soldiers retreated again, and the cultivators didn't dare to be careless. A cultivator floating in the air suddenly shouted loudly, "Don't panic, everyone. Retreat slowly. News came from the palace that this guy is an impostor of Jintiandao. A great witchcraft formation was set up here yesterday. We retreat behind the formation and wait for the experts from the palace to come and destroy this bandit. No matter who he is, he must die for trespassing on the forbidden area. Trespassers must die. Trespassers must die," the soldiers shouted loudly, full of vigor. Encouraged by the cultivator, the soldiers became a bit bolder and stood their ground. At this time, Lu Zhao and Zhao Yan'er were standing in front of the warehouse door. Seeing thousands of soldiers and hundreds of cultivators appearing outside, they were also a bit surprised. Clearly, everything was a conspiracy. "This is a trap," Lu Zhao said indifferently. Their actions seem to have been predicted. If it's a trap, then the thing they're looking for isn't in this warehouse. Or maybe that special bone fragment hiding some secret hasn't been found yet. "So, what do we do now? Kill our way out?" Zhao Yan'er asked in a low voice. "No need." Lu Zhao stroked his beard. "If he likes to show off, let him do it." Zhao Yan'er muttered with a pout. "It's just 4 leaves. Nothing interesting." Zhao Yan'er was used to seeing grand scenes. Seeing this low-level dharmic body, she always felt unsatisfied. It's like she rides a legendary mount every day, and now you want her to ride a low-level mount. She really looks down on it a bit. But for other cultivators, a 4-leaf golden lotus dharmic body is already a master among masters. The cultivators floating in the air kept swallowing saliva, vigilantly staring at the dharmic body. No one dared to attack a nascent divinity realm cultivator at this time. Ding Fengqi's 3 disciples looked admiringly. The female disciple looked at Zhao Yan'er contemptuously. "Little girl, don't think you were lucky enough to win against me just now, and look down on others. With your skills, you can't even withstand 1 move from my master." Zhao Yan'er replied softly. Defeated opponent, she wanted to attack. But the current situation was tense, so she had to grit her teeth and let it go. If they really fought, she would be the one at a disadvantage. Ding Fengqi didn't have time to protect his disciple at this time. The gang qi surrounding the 4-leaf dharmic body gradually emitted a faint glow, forming gang seals that flew forward. "Taoist Dharma seals," Lu Zhao said calmly. Unexpectedly, Ding Fengqi cultivated Taoist Dharma seals. Taoist Dharma seals and Zen Buddhist Dharma seals are different. Zen Buddhist Dharma seals rely on the golden body to bless power, mobilizing the yuan qi in the body, condensing qi into gang, forming the powerful force of Buddhism, while Taoist Dharma seals mobilize the yuan qi in the heavens and earth to increase the attack range. Both types of Dharma seals complement each other, learning from each other to become stronger, so there's no longer a clear distinction. Countless Dharma seals shot towards the group of soldiers and cultivators. Puff, 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 all the soldiers touched by the Dharma seals were sent flying away. Some cultivators, sensing something was wrong, turned around and ran. "Retreat. Don't fight him. Buy time. Prepare to activate the witchcraft formation." Many cultivators stood far away, their cultivation only enough to barely resist the suppressing force from the 4-leaf dharmic body, completely unable to fight back. Ding Fengqi's heavenly maiden scattering flowers Dharma seal sent hundreds of soldiers flying in an instant, like a great flood that had just swept through. Cries of agony rang out continuously, and the remaining soldiers retreated far, far away. Ding Fengqi raised his voice and said, "If I want to leave, who dares to stop me?" This isn't Ding Fengqi's first time here. He also knows there are many witchcraft traps around. If he continues to delay until the experts from the palace arrive, he won't be able to leave. His voice carried a powerful sound wave, spreading out from Ding Fengqi as the center. Everyone standing at the corpse fishing dock could hear it very clearly. Houses, buildings, and ships trembled from the sound wave. The soldiers continued to retreat. Everyone retreat quickly. Rumble. The soldiers immediately retreated without hesitation. Instead of dying in vain, it was better to retreat to save their lives. Their mission was to protect those witchcraft traps, and wait for the experts from the palace to arrive. Ding Fengqi's face darkened. He tapped his toes and leaped into the air. The huge dharmic body, 5 zang tall, floated behind him. The reason why the nascent divinity realm is so terrifying is because of the 100 tribulation, knowing divinity, dharmic body. Once the dharmic body appears, it will suppress the entire scene. When Ding Fengqi jumped into the air, the gang qi around the dharmic body shot out in all directions, as if wanting to overturn mountains and seas. Swish, swish, the Dharma seals flew out like flower petals. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded slightly. His Dharma seals have achieved some success. Is this considered some success? Zhao Yan'er only cultivates the Grand Purity Jade Scroll. She doesn't understand much about the cultivation methods of other sects. Lu Zhao slowly said. Taoist Dharma seals lead the yuan qi of the outside world, creating gang qi. The dharmic body of a great cultivator can also condense qi into gang, while Zen seals mainly use one's own qi to strike out as long imprints. So, which is more powerful, Dharma seals or Zen seals? Zhao Yan'er asked curiously. Lu Zhao nodded slightly. It's good that Zhao Yanhe is curious. They'll teach her slowly, and she'll definitely succeed in the future. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. You can't say which is more powerful than the other. Zhao Yanhe nodded repeatedly after hearing this. Di Yanhe rewarded with 100 merit points. Ding Fengqi's 3 disciples standing beside him were secretly shocked. The old gentleman is knowledgeable. Master really uses Taoist Dharma seals. The female disciple looked at the Dharma seals flying all over the sky with awe. But Taoist Dharma seals also have hand seals. There are 12 seals in total. The higher the cultivation, the more powerful the hand seals, not inferior to Zen seals at all. Lu Zhao didn't bother to look at her. The younger generation is still young, their knowledge is not deep enough, and they don't know how to humbly ask for guidance. Then just ignore her and let her be a frog at the bottom of a well for the rest of her life. At the same time, Ding Fengqi's Dharma seals danced in the sky like butterflies. Those soldiers who couldn't avoid them, and the lanky cultivators in the low sky, were all sent flying. Cultivators with cultivation below the congealing consciousness realm vomited blood and died on the spot. The ocean crossing realm cultivators fell to the ground in unbearable pain, and the divine court realm cultivators were also forced to the ground. Personally mobilizing Yuan Qi to resist the Dharma seals, Ding Fengqi opened his mouth and called, "Elephant King, rumble, rumble." From the forest, the Elephant King stepped heavily on the ground, running wildly. Although the speed wasn't fast, the impact force was extremely powerful, like a chariot rushing straight into the crowd. Some soldiers who couldn't avoid it died tragically on the spot, and some were pierced through the chest by the tusks and shot out forcefully. "Go!" Ding Fengqi turned his head and said a word. The 3 disciples nodded and quickly flew towards the Elephant King. The soldiers and cultivators didn't dare to approach his dharmic body. They could only stand there and watch the little girl come to his side. Ding Fengqi, slowly descended to the ground, and his dharmic body also lowered. Thud. The moment Ding Fengqi landed, the ground collapsed, which had a very good deterrent effect. The besieging soldiers and cultivators didn't dare to approach at all. Ding Fengqi raised his head and looked into the distance. The number of cultivators rushing over was increasing. People from the palace are coming. Ding Fengqi turned his head and looked behind him. Why isn't the little girl by his side? He thought the little girl would be scared and immediately run over, but unexpectedly, Zhao Yanhe wasn't afraid at all. Instead, she was happily watching the show. Watching the show is fine, but the expression on her face even has a bit of disdain in it, Lu Zhao said indifferently. The Elephant King can't escape. The Elephant King can withstand blows. Its fighting power is strong, but it can't fly. Ding Fengqi looked at Zhao Yanhe with regret and persuaded her again. "Girl, if you don't leave, it'll be too late." Ding Fengqi had never seen a young cultivator with as much talent as Zhao Yanhe. Her talent was many times higher than his female disciple. If this little girl was willing to be his disciple, she would be an extremely powerful assistant. What a pity. Ding Fengqi looked at Zhao Yanhe with regret. His hand slightly lifted. The 5 zang tall 4-leaf golden lotus dharmic body immediately disappeared, and the pressure on the soldiers and cultivators was eliminated. Ding Fengqi tapped his toes, his whole body as light as a swallow, flying like lightning towards the Elephant King. Those 3 disciples were levitating near the carriage on the Elephant King's back, constantly on guard against the surrounding cultivators. Nascent soul stage cultivation. Ding Fengqi sat upright on the carriage, and even without making a move, his aura alone was enough to keep the surrounding soldiers at bay. Lu Xiao shook his head, not bothering to pay attention to the situation before him. If he wanted to leave, Bai Zhang could appear at any moment. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The Elephant King's feet shook the earth with every step. Ding Fengqi waved his hand once, and another person died. But just as Ding Fengqi thought they could escape, faint purple circles suddenly appeared under the feet of the soldiers. Eerie and mysterious, those faint purple circles gradually expanded, emitting a haze of green smoke like mist. "A witchcraft grand formation?" a cultivator shouted. "Capture these intruders and you'll be handsomely rewarded." Among the cultivators, a commander revealed himself. The witchcraft grand formation was working. The commander, wielding a great sword, slowly flew into the air. The Elephant King was just an animal. Even if it absorbed the spiritual energy of the cultivation world, becoming frighteningly strong and ferocious, its intelligence was far inferior to that of humans. When it saw the faint purple circles, it instinctively retreated. Ding Fengqi's expression darkened. He waved his hand, forcibly controlling the Elephant King. "O le tiamo." The Elephant King emitted a sonic wave that reverberated across the riverbank. It still refused to move forward, continuing to retreat. "Beast!" Ding Fengqi cursed loudly, leaping into the air, his Q erupting. 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma Body. 100 Tribulation Illumination was a major move that consumed a huge amount of Qi. Lu Zhao didn't get it. Ding Fengqi wasting Q like this was unwise. After all, he was only facing small fries right now. What if the palace experts arrived? Where would he get the strength to deal with them? Ding Fengqi wasn't in peak condition and couldn't afford to squander his Q. When the 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma Body appeared, the cultivators preparing to approach them retreated, as if they had been trained to do so. To be precise, the smoke rising wasn't mist, but part of the witchcraft. Witchcraft converted spiritual energy into a seamless trap, with no gaps. The soldiers and cultivators who came to besiege them weren't affected by the witchcraft at all. Heavenly Constellation Seal. The 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma Body unleashed countless Dharma seals. Just like before, under the effect of the Dharma seals, the purple witchcraft circles only slowed down slightly, showing no signs of dissipating. The circles had enveloped the entire dock. As they grew larger, they intertwined, forming a chain. The light emitted grew stronger and stronger. The witchcraft grand formation was finally complete. The Elephant King retreated again. Who would believe that the epic-level overlord of the mountains, the Elephant King, would be so terrified? No matter how its master forced it forward, the Elephant King refused to budge, only shuffling backward. The witchcraft circles continued to expand, under the weak influence of the 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma body. The expansion speed of the witchcraft didn't slow down much. Ding Fanqi's 3 disciples looked worried. This witchcraft grand formation was far more terrifying than they had imagined. Even a nascent soul stage cultivator like Ding Fanqi couldn't do anything about it. A powerful figure from the palace had set up this witchcraft grand formation. Who exactly was it? Ding Fanqi's eyebrows furrowed. He watched the circles of witchcraft expanding under the ground, while the soldiers and cultivators stepped on them, slowly surrounding them without being affected. Into the water! Ding Fanqi waved his hand. The 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma body was withdrawn. Maintaining such a powerful Dharma body consumed an enormous amount of Qi. He had to conserve his strength. Now only the Crossing Heaven River was relatively safe. Maybe he'd have a chance to escape. The 4 of them turned to leave, abandoning the Elephant King. As they turned, they saw Lu Zhao and Zhao Yanxer watching them as if they were watching a play, Lu Zhao said calmly. Witchcraft circles have long since formed on the river. Ding Fanqi frowned, flying up to observe the nearby river surface. Sure enough, the river surface was completely covered by faint purple witchcraft circles, expanding more and more. These witchcraft circles were untouchable, or you'd be bound instantly. Then, your cultivation would gradually weaken and disappear completely, turning you into a fish on a chopping board. The Elephant King's body was too huge to cross. The buildings were instantly devoured by the witchcraft circles. The witchcraft seemed to have eyes, binding the Elephant King tightly. The purple smoke, like tangled vines, wrapped around it, looking extremely terrifying. The Elephant King struggled for a moment, then lost its resistance. Clearly, this witchcraft circle was similar to the witchcraft that attacked Ming Xiyin, a type of binding witchcraft. Lu Kezhao remained calm as ever. He was waiting for a chance, waiting for the person who activated the witchcraft grand formation to appear. There were no findings in the warehouse, so he could only target the people from the palace. Now that Ding Fanqi couldn't continue to act recklessly using the Demon Heaven Pavilion's name, he frowned, lost in thought. The old geezer is so calm, does he have a brilliant plan? Ding Fanqi suddenly felt that this old guy had a backup plan. Lu Zhao shook his head and said, I don't have any brilliant plans. Oh well. Ding Fanqi put his hands behind his back, turning away, his gaze fixed on the spreading witchcraft circles. The cultivators didn't leave the witchcraft circles, but slowly gathered around them. Before long, the witchcraft circle had expanded to dozens of meters. Isn't this the world-renowned demon path ancestor? Where did all that bluster from before go? The commanding cultivator flew into the air. He surveyed his surroundings, then slowly approached. Just now, when Ding Fanqi unleashed the 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma body, he hid very well, not showing his face at all. Now that the witchcraft grand formation has formed, he's showing off and flaunting himself. We received a tip-off that you'd appear. The palace set up the witchcraft grand formation, just waiting for you to take the bait, the commander said. The witchcraft grand formation has been set up here for many years. This is the first time we've used such a magnificent formation. What do you think? How does it compare to your Golden Court Mountains barrier? Hearing the middle-aged man's taunts, Ding Fanqi said in a deep voice. Ridiculous. 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma Body 4 leaves. The 5 Zhang tall 100 Tribulation Illumination suddenly expanded, opening another leaf, becoming 5 leaves. Rumble. The key surrounding the Dharma body was incredibly fierce, shaking the surroundings. The soldiers and cultivators, who thought they had victory in their grasp, were instantly blasted away. The 3 disciples looked at him with awe. This is my master's true strength. Lu Zhu's eyebrows twitched slightly, then returned to their normal calm. It was within expectations that Ding Fanqi was hiding his cultivation. As far as Lu Zhu was concerned, it didn't matter if the nascent soul stage had 1 more leaf. When Ding Fanqi revealed his 5-leaf cultivation, the witchcraft circles clearly stagnated. The fierce Qi, with the 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma body as its center, began to spread out forcefully, turning into waves. Rumble! I've finally waited for this moment! Hundreds of soldiers were blown away by the Qi. The others were shaken by the aftermath of the 100 Tribulation Illumination, to the point that they retreated one after another, not daring to approach. Ding Fanqi's figure was as fast as lightning. The Qi of the 5-leaf Dharma body had a much larger range of effect than before. The cultivators who were blasted away only had time to cry out before dying in midair. The soldiers who didn't dodge in time were knocked to the ground by the Qi. The soldiers' corpses were scattered messily beneath the 5-leaf Dharma body. This time, Ding Fanqi had killed hundreds of people. The soldiers and cultivators retreated to the opposite side at the same time. Someone shouted loudly. Don't worry, they're trapped inside the witchcraft grand formation. They won't be able to escape even if they grow wings. Calmly wait until they lose their resistance. The soldiers and cultivators had retreated hundreds of meters, staring at the 5-leaf Dharma body. They weren't stupid. There was no need to fight Ding Fanqi head-on at this moment. They all chose to retreat. The witchcraft grand formation is getting stronger and stronger. Disgusting. One of Ding Fanqi's disciples cursed angrily. One move killed so many people, but Ding Fanqi didn't dare to relax. He landed on the ground, retracting the Dharma body. The 100 Tribulation Illumination Dharma body consumed an enormous amount of Qi. He needed to conserve his strength. The witchcraft grand formation continued to spread. Although the speed had slowed down a lot, it would bind them completely sooner or later. Xiao Yanhair looked at the witchcraft grand formation, gradually enveloping everything. She also felt a little anxious and uneasy, and said in a low voice, "Master, what should we do now, Master?" Ding Fanqiwi turned around. He was sure he didn't mishear. His original plan was to take advantage of the chaos to capture this little girl. At that time, it wouldn't matter to him whether the old guy lived or died. "The old geezer is your master?" Ding Fanqi asked. Xiao Yanhair glared at him. "You're so annoying. What's it to you whether he is or not? If you keep talking nonsense, I'll tell my master to beat you to death." For some reason, Ding Fanqi didn't find this little girl's angry face irritating at all. Enduring her fierce scolding, Ding Fanqi swallowed the words he wanted to say. It would be a real shame if he couldn't recruit this little girl as a disciple under his wing. Lu Jiao stroked his beard, his face indifferent. As long as Ding Fanqi makes a move, the item card will instantly take his life. Killing a nascent soul expert will reward a lot of merit points, can't go wrong with that. Ding Fanqi's eyes turned towards Lu Jiao. Seeing him remain so calm, suspicion filled Ding Fanqi's heart. He immediately probed Lu Jiao's aura and cultivation base. Weak. Very weak. At most he's just a Phantasm Sea Realm, opening 3 meridians cultivator. He doesn't seem to be concealing his cultivation base. Once the witchcraft formation is complete, everyone has to mobilize their primal chi to resist it. Under these circumstances, who can hide their cultivation? Who the heck is this old geezer that he can be this little brat's master? At that moment, the witchcraft circle suddenly surged, and faint purple witchcraft enveloped the entire dock, as if a giant bowl was covering everyone. The great witchcraft formation had officially formed. Light, vision, and witchcraft primal chi continuously affected the judgment and consciousness of the targets, even lowering their cultivation bases. The world seemed to darken, and Ding Fanqi's expression changed. Before the witchcraft enters his 8 extraordinary meridians and covers his Dantian Chi Si, he must quickly leave this place. Turning his head, Ding Fanqi saw that his 3 disciples were sweating profusely. Only he was at the nascent soul realm, but he couldn't bring too many people to break through the witchcraft formation. His eyes turned to Lu Jiao again. "Old sir, I don't care who you are, but in the current situation, we must cooperate to leave this place, or the witchcraft formation will bind us both soon." Lu Jiao shook his head. His current cultivation base was only the Phantasm Sea Realm 8 meridians, and he hadn't even truly become a genuine 8 meridians powerhouse yet. His pitiful 4 quadrants traversing Dharma body was only slightly stronger than a monkey's strength. It had absolutely no effect on this battle. Whether his cultivation base was restricted or not was the same. Lu Jiao stroked his beard indifferently. "You're not qualified." Hearing this, Ding Fanqi immediately said arrogantly, "If I hadn't just unleashed the 100 Tribulations Illumination Dharma body, you'd probably be a wandering soul by now. The formation set up by the people in the palace has been completely activated. If you don't leave now, you definitely won't escape. Only I have the ability to escape. Little girl, I'll give you one last chance, come with me." He looked at Xiao Yanhair, who was slightly dizzy because of the formation. "Get lost," Xiao Yanhair said angrily. Ding Fanqi's face was full of regret, and he shook his head and said, "Since that's the case, then I must leave. You can live or die on your own." He moved suddenly, his entire body erupting with stellar energy. The witchcraft had already begun to invade his meridians. If he didn't leave now, he wouldn't be able to leave at all. He was just hesitating whether to bring his 3 disciples with him, but now there was no time. Ding Fanqi's nascent soul realm cultivation was completely revealed, and his whole body flew into the air, wanting to forcefully break out of the purple-lighted witchcraft formation that filled the sky, surrounding his body like poisonous smoke, obstructing his vision. "Master, don't leave me behind! Master!" Ding Fanqi's 3 disciples saw that their master was about to break through the witchcraft trap and immediately shouted loudly. They only had divine court realm cultivation. After being hit by witchcraft, their cultivation decreased even more, making it impossible for them to escape from this formation. The state of the 3 of them combined wasn't as good as Xiao Yanhair alone. Xiao Yanhair was only slightly affected because the Great Purity Jade Edict cultivation method was much better than other ordinary cultivation methods. Lu Jiao looked around. No one approached him. Looking up, he saw Ding Fanqi constantly flying upwards. In his blurred vision, stellar energy erupted from Ding Fanqi's body once more. Lu Jiao shook his head slightly. What a pity. He doesn't know his own limitations. If he used the 100 Tribulations Illumination Dharma body, he would still have a chance. But without it, there's absolutely no chance. Is this witchcraft formation a common formation? When he captured Ye Tiangxin near Qingyang Mountain, the formation then was completely incomparable to this formation. Wanting to leave without opening the Dharma body in nascent soul realm, what a pipe dream. How could he underestimate this formation? Suddenly, whoosh, a completely different kind of energy than witchcraft appeared in the distant sky, flying straight over. It was an arrow carrying mighty power, piercing through the air. Because its speed was too fast, it created intense friction with the air, forming streaks of electric sparks. The arrow flew at the speed of a meteor, passed through the blurred area of the witchcraft formation, and struck Ding Fanqi. Ding Fanqi was caught off guard and quickly fell. The arrow pierced through his protective stellar energy, creating an explosion. All the primal chi shattered, sweeping the entire area like overturning mountains and seas, magnificent and dazzling. Piff-peft. Ding Fanqi looked up to the sky and spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Bang! His whole body crashed into a building underground, and the stellar energy on his body dissipated instantly. The attacker was an archer, and still a nascent Soul Realm archer. For experts to appear, it would only be a nascent Soul Realm archer who could hit Ding Fangqi from a distance in this situation, and that person must have mastered superb archery skills. Who is this person? In the world, the Great Yan Dynasty, someone who could shoot such an earth-shattering arrow, lightly breaking the protective nascent chi of a five-leaf expert, could only be the strongest among the three great divine archers of the divine capital. He's here. Everyone's attention was attracted by this arrow. Master! Ding Fangqi's three disciples exclaimed in disbelief at the scene before them. Their master was an expert with a five-leaf golden lotus dharma body, a person they greatly respected and feared, yet he was shot down by an arrow. The archery was too strong. Lu Zhao frowned. Have the experts from the palace appeared? The crowd looked around, wanting to see the appearance of the person who had just arrived. Lu Zhao looked towards where the arrow had flown from. Although the line of sight was blurred, Lu Zhao could still see through the dim gray smoke a flying chariot floating on the horizon. The square red-winged flying chariot didn't look big. It was more like a sedan, floating above the soldiers and the group of cultivators. At the four corners of the chariot were four red-clad women in gorgeous and glamorous attire, carrying the flying chariot, floating steadily in the air. They finally arrived. It seems there's more than one person. He only has one fatal strike card at the moment, not enough. What should he do? At the same time, standing in front of the flying chariot was a man holding a bow. He was a man wearing a cloak and a wide-brimmed hat, and was descending. He gently fell to the ground. The shocking arrow from just now was shot by him. At least he's a six-leaf nascent Soul Realm expert. This is the strongest of the three great divine archers of the divine capital, Chen Zhu. The soldiers all knelt down. Greetings, Lord Chen. The nascent Soul Realm archer stared straight ahead. He stepped forward step by step. Not quickly, not slowly. Getting closer and closer, his figure also became clearer, until he was only more than 10 meters away from them before he stopped. The man took off his wide-brimmed hat and placed it aside. His whole body exuded a cold aura. Named Chen Zhu, Race Sun Zhuang, Realm 3 Zhuang, Nascent Soul Realm. Lu Zhu's heart stirred slightly, but his face remained calm. Then, Lu Zhao looked towards the fiery red flying chariot floating in the sky. The four women standing at the four corners of the chariot, although the distance was too far, and he could only see their vague figures. But based on the aura of these four women, he guessed that at least two of them were Nascent Soul Realm. However, their nascent soul was not leafed, so were not considered true Nascent Soul Realm experts. Looks like I'm playing with fire. Should I use the damage immunity card and leave? Just as Lu Zhao was pondering, Chen Zhu's cold voice suddenly rang out. The master has ordered that the people of the Demon Sky Pavilion be captured and handed over to the people in the palace for disposal. Yes, sir. The soldiers all bowed. The faces of Ding Fangqi's three disciples immediately turned pale. We are not disciples of the Demon Sky Pavilion. You have the wrong people. We're fake. However, Chen Zhu held the bow in his hand and said coldly, if you are fake, execute them immediately. If you are people of the Demon Sky Pavilion, the palace might carefully consider it, but fake goods? Who cares? The three men fell to the ground. That bow seemed to be an earth-grade weapon, not inferior to the bow in Lin Qing's hand. No. The bow spun and fell into Chen Zhu's hand. But he didn't draw an arrow, just smiled. He held the bowstring with his right hand, using his bare hand to draw the bow, condensing chi into stellar energy. A shocking sound resounded. Chen Zhu used his fingers as arrows, carrying sound waves like he wanted to snatch life, aiming precisely at one person. The target was a female disciple of Ding Manhwa. Whoosh! An arrow tore through the air, barely giving her time to beg for mercy, or even a chance to fight back. It pierced right through her chest. Poofed! The female disciple's eyes went wide as she fell to the ground, lifeless. Shimai! The remaining two disciples howled in despair. A divine court realm cultivator, bound by the witchcraft formation, how could she withstand Chen Zhu's arrow? One of the three great divine archers of divine capital. Ding Fanhua's expression changed drastically. You, Chen Zhu smiled calmly, raising his right hand again. Whoosh! Another surge of energy transformed into an arrow, appearing on the bowstring. The crowd finally understood. He was going to shoot one by one, until everyone was dead. Chen Zhu coldly glanced at Ding Fanhua, who had been shot by him and fell down, and said indifferently, Ji Tiandao? He aimed directly at Ding Fanhua. Cough. Ding Fanhua stood up immediately. He raised his hand slightly, causing the arrow stuck in his body to break. You are Chen Zhu? One of the three great divine archers of divine capital? Ding Fanhua asked in disbelief. Chen Zhu laughed. Am I that famous? Yes, it is me, Chen Zhu slowly replied. You have stepped into a place you shouldn't have come. Ding Fanhua brushed his white hair back. Does Demon Heaven Pavilion always act like this? Chen Zhu shook his head. Come on, you can pretend in front of others, but in front of my lord, take back some of your tricks. Your strength and cultivation are far behind. Ding Fanhua was slightly startled, looked up at the fiery red flying chariot in the sky. The expression on his face was very unnatural. Chen Zhu said confidently, Don't mention you. Even if the real Demon Heaven Pavilion comes here, they will have to submit. The witchcraft formation here is for arrogant cultivators like you. He didn't continue to pull the bowstring, but looked back and forth at the people in front of him, looking relaxed and comfortable, as if considering which lamb to slaughter. A nascent Soul Realm Divine Archer could fire 3 strands of Qon energy arrows at the same time. No one could be sure who his next target would be. When a nascent Soul Realm Divine Archer shoots arrows, the speed is so fast that the naked eye cannot see it. The 3 great Divine Archers of Divine Capital. Lu Xiao finally opened his mouth. His voice was old, low, and powerful. Huh? Chen Zhu's eyes shifted from Ding Fanhua to Lu Zhu. He frowned. He didn't even notice the existence of this person. Lu Zhu's expression remained calm. His right hand behind his back, his left hand stroking his beard, as if he was not affected by the witchcraft formation at all. Chen Zhu was shocked, and asked suspiciously, "You are not affected by the great formation?" Lu Zhu said indifferently, "Are you asking this old man? Do you know who you are facing?" Chen Zhu's left hand waved, and the bow and arrow floated in front of him. Lu Xiao shook his head. "How dare you, old man? Who are you anyway?" Chen Zhu's voice was full of arrogance. Without waiting for Lu Xiao to answer, Xiao Yanker finally couldn't bear it anymore. She raised her voice and said, "Standing in front of you is the true master of Demon Heaven Pavilion." The primordial energy carrying sound waves spread in all directions. Ding Fanhua, the 2 disciples, Chen Zhu, Ding Fanhua's heart trembled. Suddenly woke up. He figured it out in an instant. No wonder this girl is exactly like the 9th disciple of Demon Heaven Pavilion. His face stiffened. His mood was so hilarious. Extremely uncomfortable, he repeatedly wanted to take her as his disciple. The old man who had been traveling with him all this way was the old demon he had always been impersonating. This time is over. Completely over. But Chen Zhu laughed, as if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. "My master received news that Ji Tiandao appeared here as a fake and ordered him to be killed on the spot." Chen Zhu's right hand lifted slightly, and the arrow condensed from energy suddenly disappeared. The more it was like this, the less he could relax his vigilance. Lu Xiao stroked his beard and said, "Answer 3 questions from this old man, and this old man will let today's matter pass." Chen Zhu was about to get angry. A bell suddenly rang in the sky. As if giving an order, Chen Zhu frowned and said a little displeased, "Speak. First, who is your master? Second, what is the purpose of fishing for corpses under the river? Third, who is the mastermind behind the massacre of Yulong village? Answer these 3 questions clearly, and you will not have to die." From Lu Xiao's tone, attitude, and expression on his face, although he has not yet taken action, Ding Fanhua was able to conclude that this was indeed the true master of Demon Heaven Pavilion, the old demon, Ji Tiandao, the patriarch of the demonic path. Under his command there are 9 great demons who dominate the world, currently in the cultivation world. You can stand comfortably in such a huge witchcraft formation? Who else could it be besides Ji Tiandao? Ding Fanhua's 2 disciples were speechless, looking at each other blankly. They were so frightened that their whole bodies trembled, not knowing what to do. When Chen Zhu heard these 3 questions, he frowned, as if he was waiting for the order of the person sitting in the flying chariot. The whole place was silent. You could hear a pin drop. The witchcraft formation had been formed. The soldiers standing outside the witchcraft formation held long spears in their hands, ready to charge, and the cultivators were like flies waiting to rush over. With such a guaranteed victory, what is his master still considering? Ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling. The bell rang. Chen Zhu's eyebrows relaxed. He smiled calmly, as if it was full of meaning. "I'm very sorry. It is meaningless for a dying person to know these things." The expression on Chen Zhu's face became cold. He had never met anyone who used this attitude to talk to him. Death was the best end for that person. Arrows that have been fired cannot be turned back. Whoosh! The bow and arrow was pulled open, condensing Kuai into strength, and condensing strength into arrows. "Before you die, do you have any last words?" Several arrows made of energy appeared in Chen Zhu's right hand. His eyes were sharp. The nascent Soul Realm Divine Archer is very proficient in the method of condensing Qi into strength. This kind of Divine Archer can be completely called a strong person, worthy of the name of the 3 great Divine Archers of Divine Capital. This move alone shows that he is even stronger than Li Xing, one of the 4 great Black Knights. Seeing that Lu Xiao's expression was still indifferent and did not respond, the bow and arrow in his hand made a resonant sound again. The primordial energy became more and more powerful. At that moment, Lu Xiao shook his head slightly and snorted lightly. "The foolish will pay a heavy price." 5 item cards suddenly appeared in the palm of his hand. Yes, 5 cards, not just 1. In the moment just now he used his mind to buy 4 more cards. Lu Xiao flicked his sleeves gently, and 5 vortices appeared in the palm of his hand, emitting a faint blue light. Rotating counterclockwise, he flicked his sleeve slightly. The 5 vortices flashed and flew out. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! Chen Zhu's energy arrow left the bowstring and shot over. Piffed, PFFT, PFFT. It was completely swallowed by the vortex. The counterclockwise vortex, aided by the light purple mist of the witchcraft formation, became extraordinarily dazzling, like 5 rings chasing after each other. "This is," Chen Zhu frowned. Golden light lingered, spinning rapidly. "This is the Dao Seal." As soon as the Dao Seal appeared, all other colors became dim, and the danger was extreme, Chen Zhu exclaimed, and couldn't help but retreat. He had never seen such a method. Just in the moment when he was stunned, the 5 vortexes suddenly expanded and became larger, and the golden light shone brightly, this planted on that. From small to large, looking like countless Tai Chi circles, the golden light formed a Taoist magic seal. How could this be? Chen Zhu couldn't retreat in time. His eyes filled with shock. He drew his bow in response, firing 3 arrows of Gang Qi, whoosh whoosh whoosh, 3 times in a row, whoosh whoosh whoosh. The Taiji golden light seal wasn't affected in the slightest, directly absorbing all the primordial energy arrows. Chen Zhu's pupils widened. He was panicked and fearful, the bow and arrows in his hand shaking. Countless arrows fired out like a storm. But the Taiji golden light seal had enveloped his entire body. The unique symbols of golden light danced across the sky, covering the entire arena. Those arrows didn't have the slightest effect. Chen Zhu was standing too close, unable to escape. How could there be such a huge Dharma seal? Are Taoist Dharma seals this big? Each layer of golden light piled up, forming a sphere with a diameter of 3 meters. Boom! The sphere shattered, and the golden light dissipated with the wind. Everything returned to silence. As if nothing had happened, it was completely empty, not a single trace remained. The remaining 4 Taiji golden light seals flew towards the horizon. The 4 women carrying the flaming red flying chariot were stunned for a moment, before realizing what was happening. They raised their eyebrows, and said in a deep voice, "What nerve?" The 4 of them simultaneously formed hand seals, to meet the 4 golden lights. Chen Zhu, who was closest to the golden rings, had now turned to ashes. With the spot where Chen Zhu once stood as the center, within a 10-meter radius, were all symbols of the Taiji golden light. The witchcraft trap array underfoot was also covered by the golden light, becoming dim and dull. Ding Fanqini's eyes were dull. In the cultivation world, to be able to use such profound Taoist Dharma seals, one must at least have a Yuan Shen realm, 7-leaf golden lotus cultivation. And here, there is also a witchcraft grand formation. They have to concentrate their strength to resist the erosion and restraint of the witchcraft. This shows how strong the legendary #1 expert who roams the world is, after all. Compared to this huge gang seal, the Taoist Dharma seal that Ding Fanqi just cast was as small as an ant, meaningless, and completely incomparable. Ding Fanqi cultivated for a lifetime, and had never seen such an astonishing Taoist Dharma seal. To be able to utilize the Taoist Dharma seal to this extent can only be a Taoist grandmaster. Such exquisite Dharma seals, yet he dared to impersonate. How laughable. In the sky, the 4 female cultivators had firm eyes, and their faces still revealed calmness. They were full of confidence to break the Taiji golden light seal. Unfortunately, their Gang Qi, when hitting those vast and boundless Dharma seals, created a small ripple, and then disappeared, without the slightest effect. Taoist Grandmaster! One person only had time to exclaim, before streams of bright Taiji golden light struck their faces. Boom! Whoosh whoosh whoosh! The 4 Taiji golden light seals struck the 4 women, then bloomed like fireworks, shining brightly in the sky before disappearing. The dazzling rays of light faded into smoke, and scattered with the wind. Everyone present witnessed this scene with expressions of disbelief. Successfully killed 3 Yuan Shen realm cultivators, and 2 Shenting realm cultivators, gaining 3,700 merit points, thankfully not a loss. He secretly calculated. Chen Zhu alone gave him 1,500 points. But just now he used his mind to buy item cards for 2,000 merit points, so he didn't earn much, after all. Lu Zhu shook his head slightly, stroked his beard, and looked into the distance. This old man didn't want to take action, but a Yuan Shen realm divine archer like Chen Zhu can usually fire 3 arrows at once. His critical block card can't block many times. Then he'll have to use the damage immunity card. What a waste. It's better to take action decisively. Moreover, how can the great Yan world allow foreign races to run rampant? The Bai people are different from the 3 Zhuang. The Bai people are gradually differentiated from the human race, and have survived with the human race for thousands of years, and are rooted in this land. They are typical indigenous races. But the 3 Zhuang have always been foreign races. Emperor, oh Emperor, what kind of job are you doing guarding the palace, that you let foreign races infiltrate like this? How great it would be if a few more foreign races could sprout up for him to kill. It's a pity. How can experts like that be found just when you want them? Don't know why. After Chen Zhu was killed, the surrounding witchcraft grand formation gradually weakened. In the sky, the flaming red flying chariot, without anyone carrying it, immediately fell down. The soldiers standing below were in chaos, hurriedly dodging. The soldiers were extremely confused. The experts from the palace were just killed like that. This was like a dream. Unbelievable. Lu Zhu stared unblinking at the flying chariot. To be able to make the strongest of the 3 great divine archers willing to be a subordinate, how could his master be weak? Boom! The red flying chariot hit the ground, shattering into pieces, dust flying everywhere. After the witchcraft grand formation weakened, everyone's vision had been restored, their eyes all focused on the shattered flying chariot on the ground. The flaming red flying chariot was shattered. If there really was an expert inside, how could they let themselves fall to the ground so miserably? This shows that there was no one inside the flying chariot, not a single person. There was no so-called expert appearing. After waiting for a while, no one came out of the ruins. It was empty. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. Using 5 item cards was unexpected. But fortunately, the situation from beginning to end was under his control. If a bunch of Shenting realm cultivators rushed at him, he wouldn't know what to do. Xiao Yanhair revealed a happy expression. She took the lead in breaking the silence, laughing happily. Master is so amazing. Lu Zhou stroked his beard and said indifferently, "How do you feel, child?" "I'm fine. I was just a little dizzy just now, but I'm much better now." Xiao Yanhair came to Lu Zhao's side. The Supreme Purity Jade Slip also has the effect of resisting the effects of witchcraft. The purple mist has dissipated by 70 to 80%. Outside, there are still many soldiers and cultivators waiting to attack. Liu Zhao glanced at Ding Fangqi. These people no longer have the ability to stop him from leaving, no need to worry. He then began to pay attention to Ding Fangqi. Cough, 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 cough. Ding Fangqi coughed violently. Liu Zhao's eyes looked at Ding Fangqi. Originally, he planned to buy another critical strike card, but seeing that Ding Fangqi was injured and was also affected by witchcraft, his cultivation had decreased greatly. He immediately changed his mind. Lu Zhu clasped his hands behind his back and walked to Ding Fangqi's side. Without Chen Zhu, he can only learn everything from this Ding Fangqi, even if he has to use torture, using force to suppress him. He must find out. But Ding Fangqi hurriedly endured the pain of the arrow in the middle of his chest and knelt down, saying, "This junior has eyes but couldn't see Mount Tai. Please forgive me, senior." After saying that, he coughed again. The majestic posture of impersonating the Devil Sky Pavilion was completely gone. "Senior." Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded. "You call this old man senior? It's a bit laughable." Lu Zhao still appeared very indifferent. Ding Fangqi appeared pitiful, saying, "I have impersonated the Devil Sky Pavilion. This crime is hard to forgive, but senior killed Chen Zhu, which is revenge for my disciple. According to reason, I should still thank you." He gave a look to his two disciples. The two disciples heard this, and hurriedly crawled over, constantly kowtowing. "Thank you, senior, thank you, senior." Ding received bows from two people, gaining 2 merit points. These petty people are deceitful, not sincere at all. Lu Zhu still shamelessly pretended to be normal, not revealing joy or anger. He stroked his beard, and slowly said, "This old man asks you. You must answer honestly. This junior will say whatever I know." "Very good," Lu Zhao thought for a moment, then said, "Speak out your true identity." Ding Fangqiu didn't dare to continue pretending, and had to say, "This junior is Ding Fangqiu, from the Yun sect. These 3 people are really my disciples." Xiao Yaner snorted softly. "With only a little bit of skill, you dared to impersonate the Devil Sky Pavilion. Shameless." Ding Fangqiu was suffering in his heart but couldn't say it. The 5-leaf golden lotus dharma body isn't that bad. Why impersonate the Devil Sky Pavilion? Lu Zhao stroked his beard and asked. Ding Fangqi hesitated slightly but still replied. "Reporting to senior, the Yun Tian Luo 3 sects have many disciples who have died at the hands of the Devil Sky Pavilion. Hundreds of years ago, the Devil Sky Pavilion destroyed 1,000 weapons of the 3 sects, causing the 3 sects to be damaged at the foundation, and have not recovered to this day. This junior received the order." Speaking to here, he suddenly stopped. Lu Zhu said in a deep voice, "This junior received the order to impersonate the Devil Sky Pavilion's reputation, and spread evil everywhere." Ding Fangqi gritted his teeth and said. Lu Zhao shook his head, and sighed softly. "The Yun sect is the leading sect in the 3 sects, a dignified, famous sect. Yet they use such despicable means. The Devil Sky Pavilion does countless evil deeds. This junior is just receiving orders to fight fire with fire." Whoosh! A stream of gang wind struck. Slap! The slap landed squarely on Ding Fangqi's face, leaving his cheek burning with the imprint of 5 fingers. "Senior!" Ding Fangqi staggered backward, unsure of what to do. Lu Zhao's slap was incredibly forceful, leaving him no room to even think about retaliating. "I'll ask you again," Lu Zhao said. "What's the secret of that bone?" After that slap, Ding Fangqi was suddenly a lot more honest. Covering his cheek, he replied, "Bai Min's bone can break the Millennium Tribulation." Ding Fangqi trailed off, muttering, "It is said." Senior is knowledgeable and well-read, you must have heard of it. Bai Min has a piece of bone that can overcome the limit of human lifespan. Lu Zhu dug through the memories in his mind. Ji Tiandao had roamed the world for 1,000 years. Surely he would have remembered something so important? After a moment, Lu Zhu found nothing. He stopped searching and asked, "Has this bone been found?" Ding Fangqi shook his head. "The palace has been searching for 10 years and still hasn't found it. We definitely don't have a chance." Xiao Yaner scoffed. "What a bunch of idiots. No one can overcome the lifespan tribulation, and the owner of that bone is already dead. You're relying on a bone to help overcome a great tribulation? You're gonna laugh me to death." Her words left Ding Fangqi speechless. This reminded Lu Zhujiao of Qin Shi Huang on Earth, who searched everywhere for the elixir of life in his quest for immortality, sparing no expense. Everyone in the cultivation world had to endure this tribulation, but there were always those who were unwilling to accept it and tried everything. Could the Emperor of Great Yan be just as unwilling to accept it? As Lu Zhao pondered, the soldiers near the docks and those low-level cultivators began to slowly approach. Thousands of soldiers and a group of cultivators at the Qi Condensation, Wan Hai, and Divine Tribunal realm levels swarmed like ants. They're under the Wu sorcery formation. They don't have the strength to resist. Don't be afraid. Those who invade the forbidden area must die. Lu Zhao calmly watched the approaching soldiers and cultivators. Xiao Yanher cracked her knuckles and said, "Master, let me deal with them." Lu Zhao waved his hand and said, "No need." Sigh. One can't fight with 2 fists against 4 hands. No matter how strong Xiao Yanher was, she couldn't possibly handle thousands of soldiers and hundreds of cultivators. It would be too much work. Lu Zhao called out. From the forest behind the soldiers, Beyond Hands suddenly appeared. It let out a low roar, causing the soldiers and cultivators to turn around. What's that sound? A tiger? How can there be a tiger here? Just as everyone was wondering, Beyond's figure became clearer and clearer. Its large body and 2 exposed fangs suddenly appeared before everyone's eyes. Beyond, it's not affected by the Wu sorcery, it's a ferocious beast. Roar, Beyond roared, shaking the mountains and forests. The soldiers were so frightened that their legs trembled. This was no ordinary ferocious beast, but an incredibly powerful one. Only powerful cultivators could tame this kind of beast and turn it into their mount. Beeline pounced at the crowd. The contrast between the strong and the weak was starkly apparent. In an instant, severed limbs flew everywhere, and blood splattered across the sky. Run! Retreat! The Divine Tribunal Realm cultivators gathered together. The Wan High Realm cultivators and below had no choice but to retreat. The soldiers couldn't withstand a single blow, and they were all sent flying. Binan's combat strength was extremely powerful, especially in front of these tiny humans. It looked even more ferocious. The Divine Tribunal Realm cultivators cast all sorts of hand seals and launched flying swords. Boom, boom, boom. Bian was not injured in the slightest. On the contrary, it was provoked. Roar! Bian became even more violent. It jumped up and dove headfirst into the crowd of cultivators. Don't forget, Bian can fly! It wasn't like the Elephant King. Oh my god, a flying ferocious beast! Slash, slash! The cultivators didn't even have a chance to escape. They were instantly crushed into dust by its claws. Bian flew around, killing everything. The scene became incredibly chaotic. The unorganized and undisciplined team was instantly torn into shreds. Thousands of terrified soldiers could only retreat. It's not affected by the Wu sorcery. How's that possible? Boom, boom, boom. One swat of Bian's paw immediately took a life. It was extremely fierce. If it were a human, they wouldn't be afraid. If they couldn't win, they could slowly exhaust its energy. But now they were facing a mindless beast that didn't seem to know what fatigue was. Why involve ordinary people? Lu Zhao waved his hand, signaling Bian to attack the cultivators. I've always been merciful to ordinary people. Let them go and focus on the cultivators. Ding Fan, Qi Guan, 2 disciples. Something didn't sound right with those words, huh? Since old senior had said so, they couldn't say anything. They could only nod in agreement. Xiao Yanhair cheered and applauded. Bian's combat ability exceeded everyone's imagination. Quite a few ordinary soldiers stood below, shooting arrows. But unfortunately, the power of those arrows was only enough to give Bian a tickle. Following Lu Zhu's orders, Bian ignored the soldiers and just flew back and forth in the sky. This scene suddenly reminded him of the Snake Game. Killing a Wan High Realm cultivator earns 20 merit points. Killing a Qi Condensation Realm cultivator earns 5 merit points. Killing an early stage Divine Tribunal Realm cultivator earns 100 merit points. Lu Zhao nodded in satisfaction. He didn't expect Bian's combat ability to be so powerful. With it helping him earn merit points, accumulating points would be much easier in the future. Ding Fangqi stared wide-eyed at this scene. This is a legendary level mount. Compared to it, his Elephant King was just garbage among garbage. At this moment, the Elephant King was still lying on the ground, unharmed. It was still struggling to break free from the Wu sorcery formation and didn't have the combat strength of Bian Gen. Ding Fangqi shook his head helplessly. After Bian crushed the remaining low-level cultivators, a group of cultivators fled in all directions. Seeing that things were under control, Lu Zhao waved his hand and ordered Bian to return. His merit points increased by 800. Not a lot, because these cultivators were too weak, so the reward points were pitifully small. Bian obeyed the order and walked towards Lu Ganzhao. As it passed the Elephant King, its eyes flashed with arrogance. The Elephant King shrank back. Its whole body trembled slightly. It was in awe. It was afraid. This was the difference between a legendary level mount and an epic level mount. It was fine if they weren't together, but once they were placed side by side, the difference was like heaven and earth. Bian sat majestically next to Lu Zhao and Xiao Yanhair. Occasionally, it bared its fangs to scare the cultivators, preventing them from approaching. The effect of the Wu sorcery formation continued to weaken. Lu Zhao frowned slightly, unsure why these soldiers and cultivators hadn't left yet. Were they not afraid of death? Just as he was about to continue questioning Ding Fangqi, from the horizon, 2 people were flying through the air. Their speed was extremely fast, and the aura they released was extremely strong, causing people to widen their eyes. Did the palace send so many experts? Just as he was secretly feeling strange, the 2 figures flashed and appeared above the Wu sorcery formation. Xiao Yanhair clearly saw the faces of the 2 newcomers, and immediately jumped up and down with joy. 3rd senior brother, 4th senior brother, Lu Zhao, looked up and saw that it was indeed Duan Musheng and Ming Shiyin. Duan Musheng held the Overlord spear in his hand, his prestige awe-inspiring. He was strong and sturdy, his eyes were sharp, and his aura was like a celestial being descending to earth. Ming Shiyin wore a gray robe. His appearance was calm and composed, and he was elegant and unpredictable. There was even a smile on his lips. Master! The 2 continued to descend. In an instant, as they landed, powerful Gang Q spread in all directions. The remaining Wu sorcery in the formation was dispelled by Lu Zhao's 2 nascent Soul Realm disciples. The air returned to normal, and the visibility became clear. Master? The 2 strode forward and knelt on one knee to pay their respects to Lu Zhao. Seeing the aura of the 2, Ding Fangqi was dumbfounded. He turned his head slightly to evaluate his 2 fake disciples. The difference was too great. Lu Zhao stroked his beard and asked, "Why are you 2 here?" Ming Shiyin bowed and said, "Master, this disciple obtained some information from Fan Xuan. He said that there was a Wu sorcery formation here, personally guarded by experts from the palace. Therefore, this disciple immediately sought 3rd senior brother to provide assistance." Duan Musheng also said, "There are many experts in the palace. This disciple knows that Master is invincible." and doesn't care about them. But those rotten fish and shrimp cannot sully Master's hands. This disciple acted on his own authority. Please forgive me, Master. Lu Zhuao glanced at Ming Shiyin. This scoundrel has been head over heels ever since he saw Leaf Severan's hook. He's become so motivated and meticulous in everything. If he had known this earlier, he could have saved 5 property cards. But since things had come to this, there was no point in regretting it. Lu Zhuhao calmly stroked his beard and said, "It's fine." Ming Shiyin and Duan Musheng stood up and looked at the surrounding scene. The effects of the Wu sorcery formation had almost completely disappeared. After the battle, the docks were a mess, with corpses lying scattered everywhere. Ming Shiyin was a little embarrassed. It seems we're late. Xiao Yanhe ran over and joked, "Third senior brother, fourth senior brother, look over there are 2 fakes of you guys, fakes." Ming Shiyin was suspicious when he heard this. Ming Shiyin was a little unhappy. He strode to the front of the young man sitting on the ground, whose appearance resembled him by several points. Ming Shiyin said, "With your abilities, you dare to impersonate me." Whoosh! The 100 Tribulation Illumination body appeared. The guy stared blankly. Duan Musheng also came forward. He was just about to unleash his 100 Tribulation Illumination body when Ming Shiyin hurriedly stopped him. "Oog, senior brother, you have the Overlord Spear, that's enough. Why would you use your already manifested Illumination body? Where would that leave room for us unmanifested ones to show off?" That disciple of Ding Fanqi trembled all over and hurriedly begged for mercy. Duan Musheng, faking exhaustion, also begged for forgiveness, flopping to the ground and shaking uncontrollably. "All right," Lu Zhao said indifferently. Ming Shiyin obediently retracted his illumination body. Ding Fanqi was also shocked. This fake was far inferior to the real deal. With the talent of the Evil Sky Pavilion's disciples, how could it take so long to break through to the nascent soul realm? "Please rest assured, Master, when this disciple left Golden Court Mountain, I already gave Fan Xuan a good beating, ensuring he'll be obedient and won't cause any trouble. Golden Court Mountain also has a barrier protecting it, so outsiders can't intrude." This action was a bit excessive. Lu Zhao didn't seem to be blaming him. Without the Great Witchcraft Formation and no soldiers or cultivators to bother him, Lu Zhao once again walked towards Ding Fanqi. Ding Fanqi suddenly looked up and asked, "Is Fan Xuan at the Evil Sky Pavilion?" "Don't ask what you shouldn't," Ming Xinyan threatened in a deep voice. Ding Fanqi was choked, his old face turning red. Lu Zhao, with his hands clasped behind his back, asked, "You're from the Yun sect. Who ordered you to do this?" Ding Fanqi stammered, not daring to speak. Lu Zhao stroked his beard. "After an incident like this, if you still don't speak, you'll only bring disaster upon yourself and be silenced." Ding Fanqi pondered for a moment. He felt that Lu Zhao's words made sense. Having reached this point, he had no way back. Moreover, Lu Zhao had helped him avenge the murder of his female disciple, so he said, "Elder Hua Wudao, of the Yun sect's law enforcement hall." "Hua Wudao." Ming Xinyan widened his eyes and said, "That old geezer isn't dead yet?" Ding Fanqi replied, "Ever since Elder Hua suffered a great defeat at the hands of the old senior, he's been brooding over it. His state of mind is obstructed, so his mind cannot flow freely, leading to his cultivation not improving. Therefore, really doesn't care about saving face? Is it your own weakness that you blame on others?" Ming Xiying cursed. Only the Evil Sky Pavilion was qualified to say that. Back in those days, Hua Wudao was also a top expert, with a 7-leaf Golden Lotus illumination body, proficient in both saber and sword. Even the 10 great experts of the righteous faction didn't dare to underestimate him. Hua Wudao was extremely arrogant because of that. 20 years ago, he even proclaimed himself the #1 under heaven. The Evil Sky Pavilion is declining, and Hua Wudao wants to step on the Evil Sky Pavilion to break through to the 8-leaf illumination body. But on Jing Province's plain, Ji Tiandao defeated Hua Wudao with a single move, turning him into a laughingstock. Since then, it has become a knot in Hua Wudao's heart for 20 years. His cultivation has not advanced an inch, Lu Zhao asked again. "Where is Hua Wudao now?" 3 days ago, Elder Hua went to Qingyu Alcatar. Ding Fengqiu hesitated, stammering for a while before daring to say, It is said that they want to discuss how to deal with the Evil Sky Pavilion, and the people in the palace know more about his bones than I do." Lu Zhao recalled the flying letter from Jiang Ai, the sect leader of the Masha sect. It seems that he is also heading to Qingyu Altar. Are these people gathering to deal with the Evil Sky Pavilion? Zuo Xinchan of the Masha sect died at Lu Zhao's hands, and Ren Buping was naturally furious. It was just that Ren Buping wanted revenge, so he planned to join forces with people from the Zheng Yi Dao, which was unexpected. Righteous and demonic paths have been irreconcilable enemies since the beginning, and the evil deeds committed by the Masha sect in recent years are not less than that of the Evil Sky Pavilion. Zuo Xinchan himself had also been ranked 3rd on the blacklist in recent years. They seized many weak forces and are becoming increasingly formidable. The expert they nurtured for so many years suddenly died at the Evil Sky Pavilion. So naturally he could not accept it. They want to deal with this old man, so this old man can only make a trip to Qingyu Altar. Ming Xinyan was a little worried when he heard this. "Master, Qingyu Altar is the territory of the Zheng Yi Dao, and this disciple is afraid." Lu Zhao looked at him and suddenly called out, "Ming Xinyan!" "Yes, disciple!" Ming Xinyan's heart pounded. He felt uneasy being called by his full name. "Are you afraid?" Before Ming Xinyan broke through to the nascent soul realm, he caused trouble everywhere. Once, he accidentally encountered Zhang Kuachi, an expert from the Zheng Yi Dao, and was defeated by him. So Ming Shiyin was a little apprehensive. It was just that he wasn't as exaggerated as Hua Wudao of the Yun sect, whose cultivation couldn't improve because of a knot in his heart. How could this disciple be afraid of him? Ming Shiyin said. That's good. Lu Zhao nodded indifferently. Based on comprehension, Ming Xinyan's talent was even higher than Duan Wusheng's, but Duan Wusheng had joined the sect for not much longer than Ming Xinyan, yet his strength was already a lot stronger than Ming Xinyan's. Obviously, Ming Xinyan's mind had too many distracting thoughts and wasn't pure, so after entering the nascent soul realm, he still hasn't manifested his leaves. Even though he was also in the nascent soul realm, an unmanifested illumination body was only considered an uninitiated nascent soul realm cultivator. Each leaf opened would be a great leap in cultivation. Junior brother, this is a great opportunity for you. Your 2 zang tall illumination body is really embarrassing. Duan Wusheng patted his shoulder. Ming Shiyin sulked, muttering, It depends on who you're comparing it to. Xiao Yanher waved her fist and said, Master, beat that Zhang Yuanshan to death. He's always causing trouble. Insulting Master, it's too much. Lu Zhao looked at Xiao Yanher. He originally wanted to scold her, but when he thought about Zhang Yuanshan's face, he thought it was indeed annoying, so he stopped. Back then, when Ji Tiandao fought evenly with the 10 great experts and returned injured to the Evil Sky Pavilion, the one who led the army to besiege Golden Court Mountain the second time was Zhang Yuanshan. This person was extremely cunning. If it weren't for Luo Changfeng, the sect leader of the Heaven Sword sect, being too impulsive, then while in his peak state, the one Lu Zhao would have killed wouldn't have been Luo Changfeng, but Zhang Yuanshan. As soon as Luo Changfeng died, Zhang Yuanshan was the first to run away. After things calmed down, he jumped out again and publicly insulted Jing Tiandao. This time, the secret meeting at Qingyu altar must be related to Zhang Yuanshan. Lu Zhao turned to look at Ding Fanqi. This old man asks you, do you know who the real mastermind behind the Yulong village massacre is? Ding Fanqi was puzzled and didn't understand. Wasn't the one who killed everyone in Yulong village that senior? The information that Ding Fanqi had was also internal information from the Yin sect. He even sent people to investigate in the palace to confirm that the murderer who massacred Yulong village on the shore of the Crossing Heaven River was none other than the old man in front of him. So Lu Zhao's question immediately made him stunned, not knowing how to answer. Lu Zhao said, Even you think this was this old man's doing? This junior doesn't dare to ask about. At this point, Lu Zhao understood that he couldn't get any more information from this person. Obviously, Ding Fanqi didn't know who the real mastermind was. To be able to cover this up for so many years, the methods were indeed clever. Definitely not something ordinary people could do. Thinking of this, Lu Zhao waved his hand. Take him away! Disciple obeys. Ming Shiyin responded. What about them? Xiao Yanyer pointed at the 2 imposters sitting on the ground, who were the 2 who impersonated Ming Shiyin and Duan Wusheng. Her pointing scared them so much that they shrank back and retreated. Ming Shiyin grinned. Impersonating me is not important, but you ruined my master's reputation. Death is not enough to atone for your crimes. So we're killing them? Zhao Yanher asked. Yeah, I agree to kill them. It's best to chop them in half. Duan Wusheng nodded in agreement. 2 halves aren't enough. They have to be cut into 8 pieces. Some cultivators and experts are very cunning. You have to chop them up to make sure they're dead. Ding Fanqi was completely stunned listening to their conversation. Holy crap, this is the real Evil Sky Pavilion. After impersonating them for so long, they only managed to imitate their appearance, completely failing to capture the essence of the Evil Sky Pavilion. As soon as the Evil Sky Pavilion opens their mouths, every word makes people tremble. Ding Fanqi, with a pleading expression, mustered his courage and said, Impersonating the Evil Sky Pavilion is all my fault. Please spare them, senior. Ming Xinyin smiled and said, You're a responsible man. It's a pity that even if my master doesn't kill them, do you think they can continue to live? They are trapped by witchcraft, and their cultivation is bound. This witchcraft is extremely difficult to undo. Do you still intend to ask my master to save them? Ding Fanqi felt a heaviness in his heart about this matter. How dare he ask for help from the demonic path patriarch? Lu Zhao didn't care about these 2 small fries. His 4th disciple, Ming Shiyin, was right. The 2 of them were probably doomed. Lu Zhao looked at the sky. There wasn't much time left. He was about to order Binan to come closer when he saw a messenger bird flying in from the horizon. Xiao Yanher recognized it and immediately held out her hand to receive the letter. The messenger bird obediently dropped the letter into her palm. Master, it's another letter from that shameless guy, Xiao Yanher said. Lu Zhao immediately understood who this shameless guy was. Read it. Xiao Yanher opened the letter and read softly. Old senior, you told me to investigate the truth about Yulong village, which will take some time, but I can provide you with the latest news, so it's best not to go to Qingyu altar. Evil King, who is also your 8th disciple, is lying in ambush outside Qingyu altar. In the end, that sword will definitely appear. Just how good is that sword anyway? After she finished reading, Ming Xinyin's and Duan Wusheng's expressions darkened. That old 8th? I didn't teach him enough last time. And how dare he, with his cultivation, ambush master? What an ungrateful wretch. I'm going to skin him alive. Lu Zhao raised his hand to interrupt them. He said calmly, Old 8th has always been a bully who is afraid of the strong. With his little skills, how could he dare to ambush me? Then why would he set up an ambush at Qingyu altar? Ming Xiyin said suspiciously. The righteous sects have always claimed to be upright and honorable. Although Old 8th has left the Sky Demon sect, the righteous sects still don't think so. The Underworld sect, the Crouching Dragon Dark Web, and even Old Eighth's Fierce Tiger Mountain Stronghold are all targets of their attacks. I guess Old Eighth is just trying to get revenge. Duan Musheng agreed with his master's point of view and offered a logical analysis. But I still feel that Old Eighth doesn't have the guts to do that. The one pulling the strings behind the scenes must be 7th senior brother. Lu Zhao stroked his beard. What is the strength of Old Eighth's forces? Ming Xinyan nodded and said, reporting to master, Old Eighth's own strength is nothing much, but the thing is he has a bunch of confidants who listen to him, always lurking in the streets and alleys. The scariest thing is not the cultivator with high cultivation, but the one who has the hearts of the people. In war, that is the truly terrifying thing. It has always been like this. The power of cultivators can be contained, although there are many casualties, but it is far less than the war of ordinary people, Zhao Yanyer suddenly interjected. Does 8th senior brother want to start a war? Lu Zhao shook his head and waved his sleeve. You guys come with me to Qingyu altar. Disciple obeys. Duan Musheng, Ming Shiyin, and Zhao Yanher replied in unison. Lu Zhao waved his hand towards Bian. Bian, who was originally ferocious and terrifying, instantly became docile. It retracted its fangs and lay down on the ground. Lu Zhao lightly jumped on its back. Yanjer, come here. Xiao Yanjer thought she wouldn't be able to ride the mount. Hearing her master's call, she immediately jumped onto Bian's back. Ming Shiyin remembered that last time master also had another legendary mount, Bai Zhe, so he said, Master, what about us? Take him along and fly yourself. Lu Zhao's tone was indifferent, and he pointed to Ding Fengqi. While he was still stunned, Lu Zhao rode Bian into the air, as free as a cloud, and disappeared into the horizon. Ming Shiyin reacted half a beat later, bowed and said, Disciple obeys. Disciple will try my best to fly. Duan Musheng shook his head and said, Don't look at me. I have to fly myself too. 3rd senior brother, I don't mean that. Your strength and cultivation are higher than mine, so you fly faster. So how about you carry this guy, lest I fly too slowly and delay master's work? Ming Shiyin smiled sinisterly and said, Duan Musheng stroked his chin. That makes sense. Then you hold my overlord spear for me. He threw the overlord spear into Ming Xinyin's hand and swaggered to Ding Fengqi, lifting him up with one hand like he was carrying a chicken, and then flew into the air. Qinwo, junior brother Qinwo, what are you still standing there in a daze for? No, nothing. I'm coming. Ming Shiyin mobilized his primal qi to step into the air and chase after him, muttering, This trip is a loss. The original weight of the overlord spear was about 100 caddies. After recognizing its owner and activating its grade, its quality was improved, and its weight became several times heavier than before. Sigh. I knew I should have carried Ding Fengqi instead. The dock became quiet again after Bian left. The Elephant King reluctantly stood up and walked towards Ding Fengqi's 2 disciples. But after taking a few steps, the sorcery traps on the surface of the ferry crossing river erupted. The Elephant King immediately stopped, turned around, and ran towards the forest with a bang, running as fast as he could, gradually disappearing into the forest. The sorcery traps on the surface of the river quickly swept across the entire dock, including the 2 disciples who had lost their ability to resist. At the same time, Lu Zhao and Zhao Yanher, riding on Bian's back, flew quickly towards Qingyu al-Shatar. Master, do we need to wait for the senior brothers? Zhao Yancher asked. No need. With Bian's speed, it will only take 2 hours at most to fly to Qingyu altar. Lu Zhao also needed some quiet time to think about how to deal with unexpected situations. He opened the system interface. There were a total of 4,812 merit points. Items, he said silently in his heart as the item interface opened. Lu Zhu frowned slightly. The price of a lethal strike talisman has become 600 points? How is that possible? Lu Zhu couldn't help but shout, Master, what's wrong? Who dares to make you angry? I'll catch him and chop him into 8 pieces. Zhao Yanher quickly turned her head and looked at Lu Zhu's face, which was bulging and glaring. Lu Zhao regained his composure and waved his hand at her. Then he began to think. The price of the lethal strike talisman had increased, but the damage immunity talisman was still 500 points. So it could be seen that the price of the item talisman increased with the frequency of use. Or, the system felt that this talisman was too abnormal, so it increased the price to limit its use. He hadn't used it much before, so the price hadn't increased. Sure enough, such a powerful item talisman was not as simple as he had imagined. This had a huge loophole. If the price was always 500 merit points per talisman, then he could just rely on the lethal strike talisman to kill all the nascent divinity realm experts in the world, leaving only himself. Wouldn't that be the best? And he would earn twice the merit points spent. Sure enough, there would be no chance for him to exploit loopholes and do evil. Fortunately, the price didn't increase much, and he could still accept it. This was also urging him not to rely too much on the item talisman, and to quickly improve his own cultivation. Lu Bruzhu bought an additional lethal strike talisman for backup. In the future, he would have to be careful when using the lethal strike talisman. According to this calculation, there might be times when he would need to use those defensive talismans. Lu Zhao continued to scroll down to see that the item list had a few new talismans. Desperate treatment. Using this talisman will heal 30% of the injury, worth 300 merit points. Thunder reinforcement. Using this talisman can activate the Thunder Reinforcement Primal Chi, with a 50% chance of hitting the target, a 30% chance of injuring the target, a 10% chance of seriously injuring the target, and a 1% chance of killing the target, worth 100 merit points. These are really useless talismans. With my current ability, who can injure me? What a useless talisman. And the second one is even more useless. Only a 1% chance of killing the target to receive merit points. No matter how you calculate it, it's not as good as the lethal strike talisman. Useless. According to the system's law of providing item talismans, it seems that the later the item talismans, the more useless they seem to be. After studying for a while, Lu Jiao was shocked to realize that, apart from buying Dharmakayas to improve his cultivation, only drawing a lottery could help him earn money. But now is not the time to draw a lottery. Master is about to arrive at Qingyu altar. Xiao Yanhe pointed to the huge architectural structure in front. The Qingyu altar is circular, looking like a huge incense burner lying in the middle of the terrain. Every time the righteous sects worship the heavens and the earth, or want to open the Zhangmu's disciples, or impart martial arts exercises are done on this Qingyu altar. The Qingyu altar is surrounded by dense forests. East, Lu Xiao ordered Bian. Master, why are we going east? Xiao Yanhe asked curiously. Lu Xiao stroked his beard and said, the evil disciple Zhu Honggong is ambushing here, so I'll just grab him back. Xiao Yanhe nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Disciple will teach the traitor a lesson for master. Bian's speed was extremely fast. It soon flew to the forest east of Qingyu altar. Old Eight's forces are mostly low-level cultivators and ordinary people. If he wants to besiege Qingyu altar, he can only use tricks. With his brain, tricks is too much of an overestimation. So Si Wuyai must be pointing behind the scenes. The terrain of Qingyu altar is relatively high and isolated, so only arson is the best method. The forest in the east is the place to set the fire. Lu Xiao figured out the key point and controlled Bian to fly over. Rumble, 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 rumble. Fierce fighting sounds came from the forest. HMPH. Lu Xiao stopped suspiciously. Master, there are people fighting below. Xiao Yanhe pointed to the cultivators in the forest. They are all low-level battles, with limited killing power. Lu Xiao stroked his beard and said, the evil disciple's plan. I'm afraid it has been seen through by others. Xiao Yanhe hurriedly said, Master, hurry down. I want to fight too. Presumptuous. Lu Xiao scolded loudly. Recently, I've been spoiling this little brat too much, making her more and more unruly. He scolded, his voice rising. Xiao Yanhe immediately shrank back, obediently saying, Disciple knows she was wrong. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Below, chaos reigned as more and more cultivators joined the fray. Groups of Qingyu altar disciples occasionally appeared, clad in identical blue-black robes, but they were constantly being pushed back, their casualties mounting. Just as Lu Jiao decided to descend, suddenly two figures zipped across the low sky with incredible speed, one chasing the other. Lu Jiao recognized them instantly. The one running in front was the 8th disciple of the Dark Heaven Pavilion, Zhu Honggong. Talk about looking high and low. Finding him took no effort at all. That unfilial disciple, in Lu Jiao's hand was a binding cage card. From the center of his palm, a cube-shaped cage radiating golden light suddenly appeared and descended. Old 8th, Zhu Honggong, abruptly sensed an extremely dangerous and bizarre energy approaching him. He instinctively looked up, his mind instantly going blank. Oh my god, master, crap. There was also a bird flying in the sky, while below, this Zhu Honggong guy was running for his dear life. As he was flying, he was hit on the head by the bird above. Ouch, talk about being cursed. This guy has zero luck. Zhang Honggong felt this was a perfect description of his day. Running into master, even at the Qingyu altar, how could he not be terrified? Above, a cage flickered, shrinking as it grew and flying toward Zhu Honggong. Looks like I'm not going to get caged. Lucky. Not bad. He knew he couldn't keep flying. Zhu Honggong had no choice but to descend to the ground, muttering to himself, gotta run fast. At the same time, the cultivators below looked up, curious about the giant golden net. What's that? Am I dreaming? Let's touch it to see if it hurts. This net covering the sky and earth is truly astonishing. The battling cultivators erupted in chaos. Lu Jiao muttered, please. Looks like the probability's activated. Hopefully, I'll get lucky. Should have done the draw first. Xiao Yanhe vaguely heard this and asked, Master, what are you drawing? Lu Xiao ignored Xiao Yanhe, focusing on the binding cage. But when that cage grew to a size that made people marvel as it plunged downwards, it vanished. That's right, it suddenly disappeared. The cultivator who saw this was dumbfounded. Lu Xiao frowned. A 200 merit point card down the drain. Should I use another one? What if I fail again? Item cards only have a 30% success rate. Wouldn't it be a huge loss if they all fail? As Lu Xiao hesitated, Zhu Honggong happily muttered, the old master deliberately let me go. Time to scram. He dashed into the forest, his speed comparable to someone in the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Drawing had given Lu Xiao psychological trauma. He'd catch him later. This unfilial disciple's luck wasn't bad. Next time, he'd draw first before trying to capture him. Luckily, catching Old 8th was easy. There would be plenty of opportunities later. There were more important things to deal with now. Just let him go, master. Master, hurry, he's running away. Xiao Yanhe shouted. It's fine. Lu Xiao waved his hand. This master has more important things to do. Okay. Xiao Yanhe looked slightly disappointed. In the blink of an eye, Zhu Honggong had disappeared into the forest. Just as Lu Jiao was about to fly toward Qingyu altar, a voice suddenly called out, Grandmaster! Lu Jiao looked toward the source of the voice. You! The speaker was the cultivator who had been chasing Zhu Honggong, standing not far away, his imposing figure unaffected by the battle. It was none other than Duan Heng, the third seat of the Devil Subjugation sect, whom he had met at the righteous altar. A member of the demonic path appearing at Qingyu altar? That was a little strange. A little out of place. Junior Duan Heng greets Grandmaster? When Duan Heng was chasing Old Eighth, he recognized the old man with Bian and the golden cage. A Buddhist grandmaster had appeared, so he had no choice but to give up the chase. Lu Zhao stroked his beard indifferently. The devil subjugation sect and the orthodox sects are like fire and water. Why are you here? Duan Heng respectfully replied. The sect leader ordered me to discuss with sect leader Zhang the matter of dealing with devils. After saying this, he looked around. Duan Heng continued, I didn't expect to meet Grandmaster in this place. Lu Zhao waved his hand, surveying the surroundings. The fighting seems to be waning. Quite a few people are retreating. What's going on? Lu Zhao asked. Duan Heng laughed heartily. The devil subjugation sect wanted to act secretly, without anyone knowing, and was extremely cautious on the way. I never thought our movements would be exposed. The things that Zhu Honggong did let everyone know everything. He bowed and said, the devil subjugation sect's movements were exposed because this evil king sowed discord from within, leading many righteous path cultivators to fight, causing such a sorry state with heavy casualties. Lu Zhu nodded. With Old Eighth's brain, he certainly couldn't have done this. No need to say, this must be Si Wuyai's work. Lu Zhao's gaze swept over the retreating cultivators. From their aura and cultivation techniques, it was clear that they were indeed righteous path cultivators, hunting down those from the demonic path. Duan Heng said again, Grandmaster, why didn't you capture that evil king earlier? If you had captured him, it would have cleared my name. Lu Zhao asked. Cleared your name, Duan Heng continued. My devil subjugation sect is, after all, a demonic path sect. Now we're in cahoots with the righteous path. Wouldn't people laugh at us if they knew? Capturing the evil king would be a great achievement, and the righteous path's attention would be focused on the evil king. Lu Zhao calmly showed no emotion, stroking his beard and saying, not a bad calculation. The demonic path, capturing the demonic path, both robbing and shouting, stop thief. Not bad. Duan Heng was embarrassed and said, Grandmaster, the Dark Heaven Pavilion once killed our devil subjugation sect's second seat. Capturing the evil king would be a draw, not to the point of both robbing and shouting, stop thief. Xiao Yanher put her hands on her hips, pointing directly at Duan Heng and scolding, you're the thief. Normally, if any cultivator dared to insult Duan Heng, he would have been furious, but with the Grandmaster present, he didn't dare to explode, only forcing a smile and saying, you're right. You're right. Lu Zhao pondered, and Duan Heng was also a person who knew the times, unlike those hypocritical gentlemen whose actions made people hate them. So, what brings the Grandmaster to Qingyu platform? Duan Xing asked. Lu Zhao didn't answer, but asked Duan Xing's name instead. Where's Hua Wudao? Hua Wudao, the Cloud Sect's top elder from the Yun Tian Luo Ba sect? He came too? Didn't the Demon Slayer sect know? Duan Xing replied. This junior came here under the sect leader's orders and doesn't know about this. Lu Zhao then looked towards Qingyu platform and asked, are they all on Qingyu platform? Duan Xing shook his head and said, the evil king caused a ruckus, so the sect leader left. Lu Zhao shook his head. This wicked disciple is ruining my good plans. Lu Zhao waved his sleeve, and Bi An also flew towards Qingyu platform. At the same time, in a secluded forest far from Qingyu platform, Old Eighth was sitting on the ground, constantly wiping the sweat from his face, still panting with fear, barely managing to calm down. Zhu Honggong started crying like a dog whose house burned down. Old man master, why is he here? I'm not playing this game anymore. Seventh senior brother, come out. From within the dense forest, old seventh Si Wuyai slowly walked out. Si Wuyai shook his head and said, this happened too suddenly. I didn't expect master to appear at Qingyu platform and just ignore all your plans, just for some compensation. Zhu Honggong waved his hand, ready to run. Si Wuyai smiled and patted his hand, saying, all right, it's senior brother's fault. Here's an extra spirit stone this year, that seemed to appease Zhu Honggong, who scratched his head and said, seventh senior brother, we put so much effort into this, what was it all for? Si Wuyai slowly said, how could the Demon Slayer sect and the Righteous Unity sect possibly conspire successfully? Ren Buping's strength in the Demon Slayer sect is unknown. There aren't many in the world who can conquer him. Eldest senior brother is staying low-key and can't come down the mountain. Second senior brother's whereabouts are unpredictable, and other experts aren't coming. Second senior brother likes challenging experts. How about letting him try? Zhu Honggong cautiously said, I sent someone, but second senior brother scared them back in less than 3 days. Besides, second senior brother is still angry about the Fa Xuan incident. Si Wuyai shook his head and said, second senior brother is usually gentle and humble. If even he's angry, then forget it. Zhu Honggong trembled and shook his head. Si Wuyai clasped his hands and walked to a place with a wide view on the hillside, looking up towards Qingyu platform. The old geezer master showed up here. What a surprise. Still, the basic plan is complete. Tell our people to withdraw, ASAP. 8 or 9 minutes felt fast, but little sis worked hard all day. But working day and night is really exhausting. But try hard to work night and day. The whole family watches the clip and see that it's good. One like, donate this channel so that it is collapsed. It is so joyful to watch clips after working tired all day. If you are happy, comment haha, so that little sis can add more. Si Wuyai had a pensive look. On the other hand, after a moment of hesitation, he leaned against a tree, looked up, and smiled again. Judging from the situation, it seems old master is willing to let junior brother off the hook. Zhu Honggong bowed his head, afraid to even think about it. He sighed. I think so too. That was too scary just now. It made my balls shrivel up. Si Wuyai added. Given Master's personality, how could he let you go so easily? I suspect there's a powerful expert helping Master. Si Wuyai recalled that the evil sky pavilion had taken in a few people recently. Maybe there was someone clever among them, Zhu Honggong said helplessly. There are no experts. There's just little sister being fierce, almost jumping down to bite me. That fierce little sister wanted to eat me alive. At this moment, a cultivator was hiding behind a tree, eavesdropping on Si Wuyai and Zhu Honggong's conversation. Si Wuyai glared at Zhu Honggong and didn't bother talking to him anymore. Si Wuyai thought to himself, there's no point talking to this pig brain. He's hopelessly stupid, impossible to train, eating all the rice and still being dumb. Thinking this, Si Wuyai said, let's go. Suddenly, Si Wuyai raised his hand, and golden and red energy radiated from his body. Something shaped like a dragon bird appeared in his hand. Si Wuyai walked with Zhu Honggong, waving his hand behind him. A golden, sparkling aura of dark energy flew out behind him. In a flash, the cultivator looked back and saw that Si Wuyai and Zhu Honggong had disappeared. The golden dark energy flew towards the big tree where the cultivator was hiding. That golden dark energy was extremely dazzling. The sneaking cultivator widened his eyes as if he had discovered something, and before he could react, the dark energy pierced his chest. His whole body smoked, and his eyes were filled with fear. Then, all that was seen was blood splattering, and the sneaking cultivator looked up to the sky and fell down. Thus, he joined the ranks of the dead, down in the underworld. At the same time, Lu Jiao had controlled Bian to fly above Qingyu platform, looking down below. The large square of Qingyu platform was full of people. Although Qingyu platform belonged to the righteous faction, it could be seen that only the righteous unity sect came there to discuss swordsmanship and cultivate. Xiao Yanher saw the crowd and the huge Qingyu platform. She pointed and said, Master, over there. Bian followed Lu Jiao's command and flew down, diving toward the bottom. The group of cultivators below Qingyu platform were all shocked when they saw Bian flying over. They shouted out of curiosity. Some asked who it was, some advised caution, and some blustered. Who's so bold as to dare to barge onto Qingyu platform? A dozen or so cultivators below looked up and prepared to draw their swords, while some other cultivators looked towards the sky with suspicion. From above, Lu Jiao raised his voice and said, Where is Hua Wu Dao? The group of cultivators below Qingyu platform looked at each other. One stroked his beard and muttered, Hua Wu Dao? Qingyu platform is the holy land of cultivation for the righteous unity sect. This old friend is here uninvited. This doesn't seem right. Xiao Yanher couldn't help but laugh. Lu Jiao glanced at her, and she stopped laughing, becoming serious. Xiao Yanher pointed at the group of cultivators, her eyes wide as she shouted, I'll come if I want to. Do I need your invitation? How boring. Lu Jiao didn't fly down immediately, thinking to himself, this is still the territory of the Zhengyi Dao. If those guys knew I was a big devil, they'd all swarm me. Gotta save the item cards where I can. Cultivation is a long road, and if I drive up the price of item cards too high but my cultivation doesn't keep up, I'm screwed. Then I'll lose everything. While Lu Zhu was still thinking, a foot appeared. Duan Jing had already flown over and landed on the Azure Jade platform. He raised his hand and said to everyone, Everyone, allow me to introduce a Grandmaster of Buddhism from the Holy Altar of Ernan. The Grandmaster killed Grandmaster Zhuo Kongshuan with one move. The monk was halfway through his introduction when he trailed off, his usually foul mouth strangely silent. A Grandmaster? Is this a Grandmaster? Everyone was astonished. The Zhengyi Dao disciples also frowned in surprise, while the Ma Sha sect disciples respectfully greeted the Grandmaster, saying it was an honor. The long-bearded guy added, This humble one is Zhang Chu, the fifth elder of the Zhengyi Dao. It's an honor to meet the Grandmaster. He led the other disciples in bowing respectfully. Lu Jiao controlled Binan to land below the Azure Jade platform. Lu Jiao stepped down, while Xiao Yanxue remained on Binan, standing to one side and occasionally baring its fangs. The Zhengyi Dao disciples swallowed hard, unsure whether they were intimidated or envious. Lu Jiao stroked his beard and nodded calmly, asking, Where is Zhang Yuanshan? Fifth elder Zhang Chu of the Zhengyi Dao replied. The Azure Jade platform had distinguished guests visiting, but they left with the sect leader when the evil king of the evil sky pavilion suddenly caused trouble. The Grandmaster is welcome to stay on the Azure Jade platform and wait for the sect leader to return. Duan Xing chimed in, It's all because of that guy causing trouble. What a pity. If the Grandmaster had caught him earlier, the matter could have been resolved. Such a pity, so sad. Lu Zhu also felt it was a pity. If it weren't for the scandalous business of the 7th and 8th disciples, he might have met Zhang Yuanshan and Hua Wu Dao. It's even more of a pity that the binding cage didn't work well. But the Azure Jade platform is, after all, Zhengyi Dao's territory. There are grand formations everywhere. Dealing with Zhang Yuanshan might require spending all his capital to buy item cards. It's not worth using a bunch of item cards to deal with just one person. That's just inefficient. What luck. Not worth it, not worth it. Gotta use them carefully, or this old life won't be spared if I go too far. Not to mention investigating the truth of Yulong village. Lu Jiao didn't have much time to waste with these people. He glanced at the disciples on the Azure Jade platform. A small number were in the body tempering realm, but most were cultivators who had entered the profound connection realm. A few were in the chi condensation realm. There were only one or two leading figures in the myriad sea realm who were in the divine court realm. Lu Jiao continued to stroke his beard and asked, Has Hua Wu Dao returned to Yun sect? Someone replied immediately. Elder Hua is always in seclusion at Yun sect. It's rare for him to come out, so he probably won't return to the sect so quickly. As soon as that person finished speaking, Duan Xing interjected. 20 years ago, Hua Wu Dao was defeated by Jitian Dao of the evil sky pavilion. This has become his inner demon. If he doesn't eliminate his inner demon, he probably won't be able to improve his cultivation for the rest of his life. So Hua Wudao might have gone to the evil sky pavilion to face his inner demon. Everyone was surprised. Some disciples who knew about this discussed it. He hasn't improved his cultivation in 20 years. Elder Hua is just courting disaster. Everyone has their own ambitions. Maybe Hua Wudao has new tricks after 20 years. I heard that the Dark Four Knights from Chengdu went to the Evil Sky Pavilion some time ago and haven't been seen since. With that old devil's methods, they're probably in more trouble than they're worth. The Dark Four Knights are the ones that the Elder mentioned who were at the top of the Black Roll 300 years ago. Fan Xuan. The more they discussed, the more wrong it felt. Even someone who used to be number 1 on the Black Roll, Fan Xuan, went to the Evil Sky Pavilion, and his fate is unknown. How could Hua Wudao, who has been standing still for 20 years, be a match? The 5th Elder's ears itched listening to them. He shouted, "Quiet! Look at your useless appearances. You're already like this after just a few words. If that old devil were really in front of you, he'd scare your little souls away." Zhao Yan'er was standing very close, so she heard every word clearly. She tried hard to hold back her laughter. Lu Zhao also frowned, trying to tolerate this foolish elder for a while. After a while, Zhao Yan'er couldn't hold it in anymore. She giggled. And then her laughter grew louder and louder. She went to her master's side and whispered in his ear, "Master, they're so afraid of you." Lu Zhao stroked his beard while looking towards the Dutian River. Based on the estimated time, Ming Yin and Duan Musheng should be arriving soon. As for Hua Wudao, based on what they said, he'll probably come looking for him sooner or later. If that's the case, then he'll just wait for the rabbit by the tree. There's no need to go looking for him everywhere. If Hua Wudao really knows the mastermind behind the Yulong village incident, it would be better for him to come to the door himself. For now, he can only start with Hua Wudao. The shamanic expert inside the palace is extremely cunning. Not only could he set up a large formation on the Dutian River, but he could also use the red flying boats to observe the situation and give orders. It can be seen that his shamanic skills are extremely high. Moreover, this person can control Chen Zhu, one of the 3 great archers, proving that his status and power are definitely not small. After the battle at the Dutian River, this person will definitely be even more careful. Even Jiang Aijian in the palace couldn't find out, so it's even more difficult for Lu Zhu on the outside. Lu Zhao muttered. Hua Wudao, 5th Elder Zhang Chu, bowed and clasped his hands. Reporting to the Grandmaster, the sect leader really has urgent matters. We made the Grandmaster wait. We're really to blame. Lu Zhao just glanced at him indifferently, not bothering to pay attention to this person. Just a divine court realm cultivator can become an elder of a famous righteous sect. Zheng Yidao isn't as great as it used to be. Duan Jing came forward and added, "Everyone, the battle situation on the Azure Jade platform has calmed down. Since the plan has been disrupted, let's gather again another day. What do you all think?" Zhang Chu clapped his hands in agreement. That's fine. Duan Xing didn't pay attention to the other disciples of the Azure Jade platform, but only looked towards Zhang Chu. Everyone took their leave. Duan Xing turned around and went in front of Lu Zhao. He said respectfully, "Grandmaster, this junior has some matters to attend to. Please allow me to leave first." Lu Zhao glanced at him again. Lu Zhao said indifferently, "Wait." Duan Xing didn't dare to be discourteous, and stopped honestly. "Does the Grandmaster have any instructions?" "What, does this old man have a word of advice to pass on to Diren Buping?" Duan Xing lowered his head, acting as if he was washing his ears to listen to the golden words of the Grandmaster. "This junior will definitely pass it on to the sect leader without missing a single word." Lu Zhao stroked his beard and nodded, saying, "Keep a good eye on the Ma Sha sect. Manage yourself well, or you'll be in mortal danger." Duan Hang was slightly stunned, a huge question mark appearing above his head. He didn't bother trying to figure out what the master meant, or perhaps he just didn't dare to question him. He bowed and replied, "Thank you, Master. This junior will take his leave." He waved his hand, and a long streak of light soared into the sky. With that, he led a group of disciples from the demonic fiend sect away from Clear Jade Altar. Lu Zhao checked the time, and also felt it was getting late. Even with the addition of one more person, Ming Yin and Duan Musheng would be too slow at their current speed. Those two had already entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm. Their speed should naturally have increased significantly. Just as Lu Zhu was about to leave, footsteps approached, accompanied by a voice from behind. "Which esteemed guest has graced Clear Jade Altar with their presence? Let me come." Xiao Yan'er gasped. Who could it be? The disciples of Clear Jade Altar stepped back, clearing a path for the newcomer, Zhang Chu Qi. Zhang Chu greeted the person, who was none other than Zhang Chu Qi of the Righteous One Path. Lu Zhao had a slight impression of this name. He had met him a few years ago, and he had even defeated Ming Yin, beating Ming Yin black and blue. This incident caused Ming Yin to brood for a long time, retreating to the mountains for bitter cultivation. It had been several years since then, and Zhang Qi's strength had improved considerably. Zhang Qi was also a perceptive person. When he saw Lu Zhao and beyond, he froze for a moment. Then, he hurriedly bowed and said, "Greetings, Master." Zhang Qi mused. No wonder I felt like I had seen this master before. It's no wonder. It turns out that I am a person of respect and virtue in the eyes of the master. Lu Zhao paid him no attention. He simply waved at Xiao Yan'er and told her to leave. The name Zhang Qi called out, "Master." Zhang Qi felt strange, not understanding why the master ignored him. A disciple of Clear Jade Altar in the back shouted, "Someone's coming." Everyone looked up at the sky. Zhang Qi also followed everyone's gaze. Someone yelled, "Ming Yin, how dare you come to Clear Jade Altar?" The disciples of Clear Jade Altar were extremely surprised. It's Ming Shi Yin, the fourth devil of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, Ming Shi Yin. But their cultivation was too low, they didn't dare to step forward and stop him. It was understandable that Zhang Chuqi didn't recognize Lu Ju. Lu Ju's appearance had changed quite a bit. But Ming Shi Yin, the fourth disciple of the Demon Heaven Pavilion, he would recognize even if he turned to ash. Zhang Chuqi's reputation had spread far and wide in recent years, and the greatest contribution was due to defeating Ming Shi Yin. Now, seeing Ming Shi Yin flying through the sky, how could he not be happy? The elders of other sects couldn't beat him, but only Zhang Chuqi could stand against him. Moreover, Zhang Chuqi had once defeated Ming Shi Yin. This was a great opportunity. With the right timing, location, and people, Lu Zhu could see that Ming Shi Yin was calm on the surface, but suspicious in his heart. Duan Musheng was with him, so where was that other guy? At this moment, Zhang Chuqi jumped into the air, laughing loudly. Heaven is truly helping me. Today, I will capture this demonic cultivator alive, to see who dares to look down on the righteous one path from now on. The disciples below cheered. With Elder Zhang making a move, he will definitely capture this demonic cultivator. We are ready to cheer for the elder. Zhang Chuqi nodded, then turned to Lu Zhao and said, Master, please offer some guidance. Lu Zhao waved his hand without saying anything. Many disciples of Clear Jade Altar also jumped into the air. Those with low cultivation could only stay at Clear Jade Altar and watch others leave, all expressing admiration. Zhang Chuqi's eyes lit up as he flew after Ming Shi Yin. Lu Zhao jumped onto Bian, stroking his beard calmly. Everything has its destiny. Xiao Yanhair also ran over and asked, What destiny, Master? The destiny of Zhang Yuanshan and Hua Wudao, which is also your fourth senior brother's destiny. Bin An roared and leaped into the sky. At the same time, Ming Shi Yin was also riding the air. Seeing that he was about to reach Clear Jade Altar, he flew in another direction. This place is, after all, the territory of the Righteous One path. Ming Shi Yin scratched his head, looking around. Where's Shifu? He slowed down, preparing to land and wait, turning his head to look. Third senior brother should be coming soon too. Third senior brother isn't carrying the Overlord spear, haha, and third senior brother isn't as fast as me. While he was still feeling pleased with himself, a stern voice came from Clear Jade Altar. Ming Shi Yin. Ming Shi Yin turned his head, raising his eyebrows. Well, he recognized me. So you're Zhang Chuqi? Zhang Shi held the reins of his flying beast, his eyes burning as he stared at Ming Shi Yin like he was looking at prey. Ming Shi Yin, it's true what they say. You didn't take the road to heaven, and you barged your way into hell instead. Ming Shi Yin gaped and retorted, I'm not in the mood to fight you right now. Have you seen my Shifu anywhere? Zhang Chuqi twitched slightly, and said in a deep voice, Stop trying to scare me with your master's name. Today, I, this elder, will act on behalf of heaven. Wait, Ming Shi Yin asked again. Tell the truth, you really haven't seen my Shifu. Seeing him keep asking without letting up, Zhang Chuqi became annoyed, and had no way to vent his anger. Even if I saw the old guy, I would kill him too. The surrounding primordial chi gathered, ready for battle. Streams of Dharma seals swirled around Zhang Chuqi, the primordial chi agitated. Nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm cultivation. Zhang Chuqi's nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm was as clear as day. The disciples of Clear Jade Altar below were also excited. Ming Shi Yin frowned again, looking at the increasingly numerous Taoist hand seals, shaking his head and saying, I already said I didn't want to fight, but you just have to fight. Zhang Chuqi snorted coldly, then attacked Ming Shi Yin. You can't blame me. Ming Shi Yin's Gang Qi erupted, his body protecting Gang Qi, blasting the hand seals away. It's been a few years, and your hand seals have regressed. Zhang Chuqi directly attacked Ming Shi Yin. You washed-up loser only knows how to run your mouth. Elder Zhang attacked Ming Shi Yin with lightning-fast strikes, the silhouettes of the two merging together, leaving only the after-images of Gang Qi and Dharma seals intersecting and colliding. Ming Shi Yin retreated while fighting, constantly throwing out Gang Qi to block the elder's hand seals. So exquisite. This demonic cultivator is afraid he won't be able to hold on for long, and will fail soon. However, I find it strange. I heard that the disciples of the Demon Heaven Pavilion are suppressed by the old master's heavenly Dapio, yet he can actually fight hand-to-hand with an elder of the nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm. Nothing strange about it. Elder Zhang hasn't gone all out yet. Let's just keep watching to see what happens. Seeing Lu Zhu still leisurely grilling meat, one person comforted, Don't be afraid, even if Elder Zhang can't do it, the master is still watching. The group reassured each other and calmly observed. Most of the disciples had cultivation below the Fan High realm, and it was usually difficult for them to see nascent Divinity Tribulation Realm cultivators fighting. All of them expressed admiration. The hand seals of the Taoists are not much inferior to the hand seals of the Zen sect. Ming Shi Yin knew how to deal with this kind of hand seal too, constantly using his Q to resist it. So Zhang Shutong was on the offensive, and Ming Shi Yin was on the defensive. Old man, don't push me. Ming Shi Yin mobilized his Q to block, while constantly retreating. Zhang Shutong said in a deep voice. Too weak, he didn't even put Ming Shi Yin in his eyes, and his Q surged again. Seeing things weren't right, Ming Shi Yin's eyes flickered. This old guy is even stronger than before. He looked around, still a bit wary. After all, this place isn't too far from Qingyu Altar. What if Zhang Yuanshan and those elders show up? That would be bad. Ming Shi Yin saw Zhang Shutong open both hands, dozens of long seals crashing over like waves, and he retreated to dissipate some of the energy. Ming Shi Yin was sent flying backward. Zhang Shutong, taking advantage, boasted, "You really are as weak as ever." Ming Xiyin turned around and ran again, deliberately. Zhang Shutong was slightly taken aback, and a moment later, Ming Xiyin had run several hundred meters. He really did that on purpose. Ming Xiyin wanted to use Zhang Shutong's power. "If you have the guts, chase me. If my Shifu and senior brothers arrive later, you're done for," Zhang Shutong coldly said, ignoring him. "Want to run? Too late. 100 tribulations. Moving darkness." A guy below gasped. Elder is finally unleashing the stacked double ultimate moves of the 100 tribulations, moving darkness avatar. The figure flickered, and a second later he was beside Ming Xiyin, smashing down. Next, Zhang Shutong would use the Great Divine Power technique. "I already guessed you'd use this move, old man." Ming Xiyin also opened his 100 tribulations, moving darkness Dharma body, to block Zhang Shutong's move. But Zhang Shutong's Dharma body was 2 leaves, while Ming Xiyin hadn't even sprouted a leaf. Compared to 2 leaves, he was much weaker, like a child versus an adult. When the ki of the 2 Dharma bodies collided, a deafening noise shook the sky, and Ming Xiyin fell to the ground. The Qingyu altar disciples who caught up saw this magnificent scene. Once Elder Zhang's 2 leaves Dharma body comes out, Ming Xiyin is sure to lose. But this Ming Xiyin isn't simple either. To be able to condense a Dharma body, he's a nascent spirit tribulation cultivator. Consider him unlucky. To run into Elder Zhang when it's just him. Elder Zhang is Ming Xiyin's natural nemesis. The Qingyu altar disciples watched arrogantly. At the same time, on the cliff, Lu Zhao and Zhao Yanhe were still sitting nearby, eating grilled meat. Lu Zhao stroked his beard, observing the battle. Zhao Yanhe asked, "Shifu, aren't we going to help 4th senior brother?" Lu Zhao replied, "Ming Xiyin is usually suppressed in the divine court. His talent isn't any worse than Duan Wusheng's. If I help him, how will he improve?" Zhao Yanhe pointed at the Qingyu altar disciples. "Shifu is so thoughtful, I want to fight too. I want to beat them up." Lu Zhao scolded. "Watch the fight, don't cause trouble." "Yes, I understand, Shifu," Lu Zhao said to Zhao Yanhe. "Those Qingyu altar disciples are all weaklings. Fighting them is meaningless." At the same time, Ming Xiyin was slammed headfirst into the ground by Zhang Shutong, with a loud bang that shook the entire forest. Zhang Shutong was very satisfied with the result of his move, looking down. Even if Ming Xiyin isn't dead, he'll be injured. He was still floating high in the air, his whole body ablaze. Around Ming Xiyin, who had fallen to the ground, dust filled the air.